Massive crowd, support everywhere. Umpire holds the ball aloft and we're ready to go for McDonald's. Triple M Rocks footy. Here's the big juke to get you underway.
Stanley and Naismith, and the umpire bounces this one, and so the prelim final underway. Bruce Stanley the first hitter. Look at Parker just come crashing through. Came to Dangerfield, they got hold of him. Selwood flicked it out. Cowan through came. Good attack on the footy from Rowan. Moved really well. Good sign for the Swans. Quick hands that Juddy spoke about on offer. Zach Jones, he hasn't played for the Swans since round 17. Buddy Franklin, Lonergan, McGlynn in good form. Umpire wouldn't buy the free kick. Papley back to McGlynn. McGlynn gets the first shot at goal. And the Swans get the first one. 29 seconds it took. And that is a perfect start for Sydney. 1 straight 6. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
That's just running power through the middle. A couple of hand passes to release, and then they just had numbers hitting front and square to the contest going forward. We know McGlynn can run. Lonergan did his bit. He broke square with the one-on-one contest with Franklin. Then it was Papley coming through. He got there first, shot the hand pass out to McGlynn. A great snap from Benny McGlynn, who got up really quickly after Enright had bowled him over too.
1 straight, Sydney. Very early strike. And McGlynn, who missed the premiership, of course, a few years back, will be hoping in 2 weeks' time he can erase that. We're back in the middle. Stanley jumps in, gets a hand to it, ball on the ground. Scott Selwood and now Dangerfield around the body. Got it to half forward. Alir's out there. Just couldn't release the ball. Caddy got hold of it instead. Handball back to Bartel. Scott Selwood runs a bit of an arc. Inboard to Dangerfield. Gets it. Flicks the handball back to Bartel, who's on the wing. He goes back to Selwood. They're not making any ground here, the Cats. Finally, they hoist a high one forward. And the mark is taken by Nick Smith.
He was incredible last week, Nick Smith. Had Eddie Betts covered for the majority of that game. Won a lot of the footy as well. Beautiful.
They are out here.
It's the Swans are attacking cheap, and there's numbers running hard. Buddy's pushed up to the wing. He's going to launch a long one. Tippett gets his first look at it. 2 on 2, off hands. Gary Rowan's had some impact early. Handball comes out. McGlynn fell over. Picked up by Harry Taylor. Cowan, little fumble. Went back and kicked it from half back directly out of bounds. And there it is. It's been paid. So the Swans, nice early start.
Since they look sharp, the Swans.
Yep.
Hanbury, half forward to bring the footy back in. Low and hard. A bullet. Gets it to Papley outside 50. Handball off to the Bud. Squaring ball from Franklin. Brilliant. Kieran Jack's got it 40 out.
Well, they've started like they did last week, the Swans, and it's very important for the Cats to hang on and not concede 3 or 4 quick goals. The real opportunity here. Gee, that's a great pass. A really good weight on the ball from Franklin to Jack.
So Kieran Jack can make it 2 inside the first 3 minutes. Not always high-scoring games, prelims. So these are big early moments to the punt road end. The skipper tonight. Left foot ball. No, he didn't like it straight away. It's across the face and through for a behind. 1-1. Geelong haven't scored. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
And Papley involved early as well. He was very good at the start of the game last week and getting involved early tonight again.
Corey Enright, fullback, kicking duties. All of his experience will be invaluable tonight. Reece Stanley, big pack. Heaney involved in it. Naismith play on danger, picks it up one-handed and signals he's off. Launches one to the edge of 50. Henderson casting the rolls of forward tonight in this big final. He couldn't get hold of it. They come from everywhere. Rampy back there. Heaney and Bartel. Heaney hacked it out of mid-air in the end. He's kicked it straight out of bounds in the full. On the Great Southern Stand wing side, it'll be a Geelong free kick on centre wing.
1-1 Sydney. No score. As Cowan's going to bring it in yet for the Cats. Great Southern Stand wing. He runs about 20 metres into the ground and then pumps it long. 2-on-1 back here, and Henderson just had to defensively fist out of play. 35-40 around from the Cats. City end goal. Absolutely perfect night for football. Flags not moving. Temperature in the probably low to mid-teens. Ball thrown in again. Comes to the back. Kieran Jack picked it off, and then he got picked off by Buse. In fact, it might have been Blitzarves, the tackler. The football's on the ground inside 50. Alir goes and gets it to Hanbury. Just hacks it out of there. Out of wing, 1-on-1. Kurt Tippett now. parked over the footy.
Harry Taylor wrapped him up, but ended up with possession, and then Joey Kennedy, look at the strength, Cowan got him, he was strong enough to burst through, and then it's Kieran Jack sliding over, boundary thrown in front of some pretty vocal Cats fans there on the outer wing. The southern stand wing side will have a boundary throwing.
Yeah, they wanted holding the ball against Josh Kennedy. Scotty Selwood with the job on him, but he just broke the tackle.
Is that a hard tag, Scotty Selwood on Joey Kennedy?
Well, it's certainly the starting point at the moment.
Parker, a little fumble picked up by Joel Selwood. Cats get it to 50. Hawkins and Grundy, well done Grundy. Nick Smith picked it up, he's going to attack through the corridor. It's Franklin and Lonergan. Oh, well done McGlynn, read it beautifully front and centre. Kicked the first goal, Benny McGlynn, can he slide this one through? It just bounces to the right. And a minor score, so all the scoring Sydney. 1-2-8, Cats yet to score on the Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
Oh, the wee man McGlynn.
Yeah, if he had his time over, he might have just carried the ball and linked up again with Buddy.
Yep. Guthrie to bring it in, kicks to himself and then just pumps it. Members side, high ball. Blitzard's a good mark. That's what he can bring, this big man. He goes short, and then a goaler's got it. Still at half-back, Members side. Not a lot to go to. Certainly looked inboard, and then just down the line he goes. It's floating in from the side, Selwood unable to take it. Smith at ground level won a really hard ball. Hanbury to Jones on the wing. Jones, short, targets the Bud, who started nicely. Handball on, McGlynn was out, but just a little hand on the handball was enough. Buddy with some great forward pressure. They're under siege back here, the Cats. Guthrie now brings it away through half-back. Short ball, broken up in the air by Rampy, and comes back to Guthrie.
Hamble missed the Mackie target. He had enough time, Mackie, to go and find it. Danger winning a bit of possession, worked a little 1-2 with Bartel, had to go the non-preferred left. It's Alir, Motlop just slapped it down. Heaney read it best.
Ooh.
An ordinary looking kick, but fortuitously found in the lap of Benny McGlynn. Two-man, welcome to you tonight.
Yeah, Dangerfield 5 touches already, Das.
McGlynn's the one, he's been everywhere so far.
How many for Benny McGlynn, two-man?
Yeah, McGlynn's racked up 3 possessions and a major.
Short one from Franklin. Look at the field kicking from Buddy. Finds Tippett, lace out on the chest within range. His field kicking's outstanding, Chief Buddy.
It has been. He sold the dummy to Lonergan on the mark as well to get around him. And I've got to say, the Cats' defence at the moment is at 6s and 7s. They're finding a lot of Swans getting goal side. They're having to push back, not quite man up, and then the spaces for the Swans forwards to lead up into. It's a really important kick for Tippett, this one.
Wouldn't they love to get a goal to Kurt Tippett in the first quarter, just to settle him down. Playing with hairline fracture of the jaw, has been goalless in his past 7 games. That one looks magnificent off the boot. And they get around Kurt Tippett. Swans, 7.5 minutes in, have done all the scoring. 2-2-14. The Cats haven't registered a score. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
A great goal to Tippett, and some real danger signs for Geelong early. It's not just that Sydney have scored the first 2 goals, it's the way they've scored them, and they've really been able to pick apart Geelong's back 50 so far, and Geelong haven't been able to get a lot of pressure on the ball. So Geelong need to get their first goal and really feel like they're in the game, but all the play with Sydney so far.
One of the other things we can take into account here is that Sydney are one of the best first quarter teams.
Yeah.
They score heavily, they blow teams out early, but the Cats are one of the best finishing teams, and they score heavily late in the game.
Shell V Power special comments. Jason Dunstall, Chris Judd, Triple M footy. Prelim final Friday night. We're back in the middle. Tippett now in the ruck, just clean possession. And then hoisted high inside 50. Buddy's parked underneath it. Big defensive fist from Harry Taylor. Lands in the arms of Duncan, who gets wrapped up. Centre half forward for the Swans. The ball's going to be thrown up.
Big corky to Bud too there.
Yep. Andre Agassi just sitting in the crowd, and Gil McLaughlin, who's one of the great star porkers of the modern era. He will find anyone a profile and park his ass right next to him, and he's managed to do it tonight. As the free kick goes Sydney's way, and Mitchell's going to end up with the footy out of a stoppage.
Play on.
Inside 50 he goes, high and long. Tippett dangerous in this situation. Doesn't get to him. Very good mark taken, Lonergan.
He saw Buddy, Juddy, isn't he?
Yeah, just a corky, but it looks like it's in a very good spot there, so he's hobbling around at the minute.
Not going to come off the ground, but his man Lonergan was able to just to drift off him and take that mark. He gets it a half back. The athleticism of Lear smashed it away from Zach Smith. Now Bunny took it, and he absolutely steamrolled Motlop, who's down. Swans go into attack again. Opportunity there for Xavier Richards, and Motlop still picking himself up. The boundary thrown deep in attack for the Swans. Howie.
Buddy Flanking has come straight to the bench after delivering that one to Motlop. They're just having a look at that cork at the moment.
Now in the dock for Bob Jones T-Mart's throw in.
Motlop coming to the bench as well. Wasn't the best tackling effort we've ever seen.
Parker ends up with the footy but can't get boot to it. Jack goes to work at ground level. Mitchell's hands were broken up. Selwood, Kennedy, it's tough and hard on the coalface. Inside 50s interest me, Ash, on the hard yakka sheet.
Yeah, JB, 9-3 Sydney's way.
That's a big early number given it's only 10 minutes into the game. Smith down, Dangerfield to Blitzarves. Around the body, down the line, Hawkins with one hand, Grundy's got hold of him. Picked up by Henderson, handball off to Cowan. Not really anywhere for him to go, so he dribbles it towards Aliir and Henderson. Aliir will end up getting the handball back from Lloyd, and then a beautiful little touch kick. And gets it to the skipper, Kieran Jack, on the wing.
Well, the difference at the moment is the Swans are finding space. Everything the Cats do is basically a kick to a contest.
So Kieran Jack's just going to have to pound it long inside 50. Looking for Naismith, can't find him. And now it's on the ground inside forward 50, and this is where the Swans have made it work. Mitchell was brilliant. Got it to Parker. Parker off a step, bang! Got three. This is a blistering start for the Swans, and exactly what Geelong did not need. 3-2-20. Cats haven't scored. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
That was brilliant by Mitchell. He gathered the ball in the forward 50. He was surrounded by 3 or 4 Geelong players. Didn't panic, held his nerve, waited for an option to appear, and sooner or later it did in Luke Parker. Fed the ball out, and Parker finished. And all the momentum with Sydney. As the Chief touched on earlier, they're just finding a lot more space than Geelong so far, and they've got 8 uncontested marks to Geelong's 2, which really illustrates that.
Even better news, Buddy Franklin back out there, the Corky. No real issue, and you start thinking about the one game in 3 weeks. They just look a little bit off the pace, the Cats, Juddy, early in this game.
So far, they just need to get some possession, let alone a goal, just to control the ball for a period of time so they can get their confidence up. 20-0 start to the Swans. 11 gone first term. Trying to find some footy. Dangerfield. It's been taken away from him again. Here they come. Kieran Jack tries to just chip one and found the target easily to Parker. And their defence has been in disarray, the Cats. It looks ugly. It's not what you expect from a preliminary final 10 to 15 minutes into the game, but still plenty of footy left.
3-1 the centre clearances in favour of Sydney. That's doing the damage, and 5-3 clearances overall, giving them first use of the footy.
I love the idea of Luke Parker coming out of the goal square, resting as a midfield. Such a talented player, this man. Kicked the last goal for an incredible start to the Swans. Can Parker deliver it? He sure can. He's got 2. 4 straight Sydney. It's 26-0. 12 gone first term. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
This midfield battle too, Chief. The contested footy, I'd imagine, is going Sydney's way.
It is 19-14, JB.
And also Joel Selwood. We speak a lot when Geelong aren't going well, and invariably Joel Selwood or Paddy Dangerfield aren't getting a lot of the footy, and right now they've started a little bit slowly, and Joel Selwood only with the 2 touches. For Geelong to be contenders this year, they really need other players to pick up the slack.
Inside 50s, Ash.
It's now 11-3 Sydney's way, hard yakka.
Every indicator is heading the Swans' way, including the scoreboard, the most important one, 4-2-26. Cats haven't scored. This is a blitz. Restart. Naismith down and then took possession. Handballed it out, looking for Mitchell, couldn't find him. Rare touch for Enright, but he's closed down. Dangerfield wrapped up. Ball spills to a 1-on-2. Duncan's reefed into the ground. Mitchell's been on fire early. Left foot inside 50 ball. Buddy one out. Test of strength. He was too strong. Gave it to Tippett. They got their fifth. This is a bashing. This is a bashing up of the Cats by the Swans early. 5-2-32. The Cats haven't scored. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
Geez, it was a show of strength from Franklin, wasn't it? I'm looking forward to a replay on the Chemist Warehouse screen just to see whether he got away with one in the one-on-one contest, but brought the ball to ground. Harry Taylor having a bit to say to Buddy, and Buddy's coming straight back at him. It ain't friendly, let me tell you.
Yeah, amazing scenes, isn't it? Let's have a look at Chemist Warehouse replay screen.
Another centre clearance.
Yeah, extraordinary, Chief. The tackle pressure is enormous. Every part of the game, the Swans are on top. Here's the one you're looking for. Was that a free kick? But he got rid of Lonigan.
Line ball. Could go either way.
Dribbling Chemist Warehouse replay, the home of real brands and real
Free
savings.
kick, Dangerfield, no advantage. No advantage from stoppage.
And the umpire's mic'd up for us exclusively here on Triple M Footy, and Danger won a bit of the footy, but hasn't had any real impact, so he's just going to send this one as long as he can inside 50. Alir goes back courageously, fisted it away. Cowan leads in the race, sliding in, Jack didn't give away the free kick. Cowan drags it back under, wrapped up by Hewitt. And might have been a little bit lucky there, Cowan. Yes, we'll have a ball up deep inside attack. The Cats at the city end of the MCG. They haven't scored, and the Swans have got 5 goals too.
Ball thrown up. Mitchell's been enormous. Little handball comes through to Laidler. Gets a kick, it'll land in the arms of Corey Enright. Wing half forward for the Cats.
Just no easy possessions.
Looks to switch. Can't go anywhere, so he's just got to drill a low one that ends up okay. Duncan outside 50. Long ball looking for, not finding Henderson. Off hands through for a behind.
Yeah, that was the one. He's angry with himself. Lockie Henderson got 2 hands to it. Should have taken the mark.
31-point lead to the Swans, 5-2 to 1 point.
Cats' first score. It's taken 16 minutes, and it was a rush behind.
How is that not 15?
Lloyd's kick to Rampy, appeared to cover the distance. Rampy just bombs it out almost to the wing member's side. Enright went with the left footer underground, picked up by Duncan. Releasing handball was good. Kolajasny from half back ran into Marsh. His kick was searching for Hawkins, well covered by Rampy. Lloyd slides in. They've got a heap of numbers back here, Sydney. Tom Mitchell finding a lot of the ball. He goes short, wanting Hewitt. Broken up there by Guthrie. Picked up an opportunity for Jed Buse to come through. The Swans working hard in defence. They get it over the boundary line for a boundary throw, right on the arc of 50. City end. 31-point lead to Sydney with 10 minutes remaining in the first term.
How long, Juddy, does Chris Scott let this sit before he does something?
Well, there's only so much he can do from up there, to be honest. It's really up to the players to start winning a few more contested balls.
Well, they're getting a little bit of territory in the last minute or so. That ball stays in. Laidler takes it out. And it'll be thrown in 45 from home. Cats end. City end. 31 points they trail. That's a massive lead in a prelim final to have to reel in. Even this early in the game, Smith just gets rid of Tippett. Ball on the ground, comes to Enright via Guthrie. Neither able to control it. A bit of ping pong off the ground. Now Jed Buse runs past the footy. Dangerfield went and got it. High inside 50 ball. Alir, big massive defensive fist. Grundy at ground level will go and get it. Give it to Jones. Jones exiting defensive 50 with a big long pounding ball. Pretty good to Xavier Richards, who's now got plenty of room to move. Has a bounce and completely cocks it up.
Had to sock it off the ground. In the end, Jimmy didn't bounce up at all. Gary Rowan, brilliant attack. Went headlong at Lonigan and really did well, Gary Rowan. Boundary throw and Swans deep in attack. Great commitment for a man who looked like he was going for the year last week.
That's all they wanted from him. Break even at the contest. 50-50 ball, put the body in. Joel Selwood, just 2 touches thus far.
Amazing start to this prelim final. All 5 goals Sydney's way. They lead it by 31 points. Boundary thrown is going to be balled up. Dangerfield laid a strong tackle. And on the edge of 50 at the punt road end is Hewitt, who he had. Now by saying, give it to me. And toss this one up. Perfect night here in Melbourne. Sydney, an amazing start to this free kick. Okay, Cats free kick. And Danger will come up with the ball at half back. His possession number, please, Truman.
He's had 10 possessions for Hardyaker.
Not a great kick, though. And Laidler was held out of the marking contest, so he'll get a free.
So they just can't hit a loose target, the Cats.
And they can't get near Sydney's loose targets.
McGlynn dropped what he should have taken. Now they've got a bit of an issue, although Kennedy's taken to ground. Umpire's going to watch this pretty closely and then ball it up. Probably the first mistake the Swans have made. Drop mark from McGlynn.
And the way they've come out, you do wonder if the one game in 26 days has had an impact, because they're just struggling to get the feel of the game at this early stage.
Ball thrown up. Parker. Mitchell. Mitchell's been brilliant. Back to Lloyd. Lloyd high inside 50. Defensive fist on Buse. Inside 50. Hack from the boot of Parker. And it's marked by Lonigan.
Good to play on. Tommy Lonigan. Now he's under a bit more heat than he intended, almost from the full back line. Kicks it out members side. Lincoln McCarthy, the little man. Under some pressure from Marsh. And now Kolajasny squeezes it to Henderson off his shin. And that will be a boundary thrown. Almost went through the interchange race there down near Howie and the dock on the members' wing at the MCG. 32-1. Swans by 31 points. 8 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. Tippett spending some time in the ruck. He's kicked a couple of goals, the big man. Perfect result for him coming back in with that injury in mid-air. And Laidler, who came back into the side last week for the first time in about 6 weeks. And now he just chips one back to Rampy.
Rampy sideways to Grundy, yes, Chief.
Geelong forward line, and the setup looks impotent against the Sydney defence.
Light off the 45 and get it to Lloyd, centre of the MCG, just backwards of that. He comes to the members' side. Hanbury, how much of the footy see out, Ash?
6 touches.
Down the line he goes. Beautiful kick. Hewitt drops what he should have taken. It landed in his lap and then was spilt and goes out.
JB, Geelong averaged 20 uncontested marks per quarter. Tonight, we're only tracking at 5 and we played 21 in the first quarter.
Well, the good news for the Cats is they have stopped this scoring blitz of the Swans. The bad news is they can't score themselves. Down to Parker. Parker has it busted out of his hands. Heaney just bashes it forward. It carries everyone and goes through for a goal. They are on like Donkey Kong. The Sydney Swans. 6-2-38. Geelong 1 point. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
It is a good old-fashioned smackdown. The Cats just look a bit lethargic and a bit disorganised. The Chief mentioned in front of the ball, their forward line at this stage looks dysfunctional. And the opposite couldn't be more true down the other end. That ball, just a contested ball situation. Heaney wanted it more, swooped on it from around the 50-metre mark. And amongst a fistful of Geelong players, just was able to dribble it through for another major.
4 goals from clearances for Sydney.
Let's get down to Howie. What can you tell us?
Hawkins, Dangerfield, Enright, all on the bench, all looking around at the assistant coaches. A lot of finger pointing going on. They're just nonplussed at the moment, the Cats.
6 unanswered goals, Howie, for Bob Jane teammates. Or Alistair Clarkson in the crowd. He's just a football-loving animal, isn't he, here tonight? Soaking it in now. Selwood sends the Cats forward. They've got a one-on-one in the goal square. Henderson, the surprise forward. Rampy did really well. Nick Smith comes in. Opposed to Motlop. Got it over for a boundary line. Cats want deliberate nothing doing. And so it's the city end of the MCG now. That's where we're going to have a boundary throw. And the Cats, who have had none of the play, trail by 37 points, at least get a chance inside 50.
They want to deliver it out of bounds there. The Cats fans didn't get it. Blitz halves. Free kick might go Joel Selwood's way. In a stoppage. He certainly made sure the umpire saw it. Parker's arguing hard.
More 5 minutes off the ball.
Parker saying he just pushed off him, but the umpire said more than 5 metres off the ball.
No, he can't. Oh, he's played it right.
Saw the ball got there.
Wasn't too bad.
Just manhandled him.
Just a victim of being too strong.
Yeah. How important is this kick? Just to get Geelong into the game in some fashion.
Free kick count, Ash.
Yeah, Hardjacker stats, JB. It's 4-3 Geelong's way.
So Joel Selwood, the skipper, big kick. Got to stick it through and give the Cats some sort of belief as much as anything else. And he's pulled it badly to the left.
Wow. That was a horrible kick.
2 points only, Geelong, Sydney 6-2-38. I tell you what a start like this does, Duke. It stops some of the more atrocious cheerleading you'll ever see from a neighbouring box. It's really sort of put a stop to any of that, as it's 36-point lead for Sydney.
It's taking the real wind out of either side of us, Jim,
Yes,
to be
it
perfectly
has.
honest with it. Franklin stands up, playing on with a pretty nasty corky. Bartell on the AFL logo on the wing members' side. Caddy's kick was under pressure and didn't look at all Caddy, and this is a lead-up target. They've been able to find it. Will, it bounces into the lap of Papley. Had some runners going past, then Salts from Caddy. Poor handball. Finds Franklin. Selwood's tackle was strong. Laidler's kick, a real up and under job coming through. McGlynn decided to fist, which was a strange decision. Smashed it back into the corridor. Naismith, they're winning these 50-50s. Hanbury's handball chopped off by Cow, and look at Heaney. He's got it all, Isaac Heaney.
They are so much more aggressive than the Cats, the Swans. They are just manhandling them as a group, bullying them.
Tackle count.
Yeah, Hardjacker stats, JB. 22-17 Geelong's way.
Cowan goes and gets it around the body, high ball forward. Motlop's been unsighted, couldn't take that. Grundy was very good to get it back to Rampy, who's a very good player. To Aaliyah, who you sense is going to be a very good player. At half back, so much more organised at this part of the ground at the moment, the Swans. Aaliyah kicks in a measured way to Marsh. And he goes to Smith. Nick Smith to pump it long down the line. Bud's got a couple of beat in the air just to bring it to ground to be a good result. Parker went and got it. Handball back looking for Hanbury. And then Kennedy, and then Parker, and then Heaney. What about the names? Extraordinary. Parker slapped it back. Guthrie dispossessed. Dangerfield, Cowan, and now Bartel.
Kicks it looking for Lincoln McCarthy. Nick Smith's a very good defender. All-Australian a couple of years ago. Always consistent for Sydney. Now they transfer it with ease. Zach Jones, who got some run through the middle. Mitchell decides to chop back on his left and come laterally back to Nick Smith, who's just forward of half back for Sydney. Go to the punt road, and Rowan took his eyes off the mark. Enough speed and agility to go back and get it. Then kicks a reverse torp, and it's going to fall in the lap of Papley down there. It is just perfectly all falling the way of Sydney.
Yeah, we saw a tumble punt from Heaney go through. That was an instep torp that just floated and eventually hit Papley. But they're creating their own luck.
Hands it off to Franklin. He's on the side of the ground that he loves. And look at Buddy just drag it through. There's your 7 unanswered goals to start the prelim final. It's a car crash for Geelong. 42-point lead. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
And it's often the uncontested footy that the Swans are doing it with at the minute. Buddy, uncontested handball received there and slotted it through from 55. The uncontested marks so far are 22 to Sydney, 5 to Geelong. And when you think of Sydney as a footy side, it's not the first thing you think of. You think of their contested footy and their inside work. The fact that they're being allowed this much space from Geelong spells danger signs.
49 to 28, the uncontested possession.
How many times in the history of our game, Tua, has a team come back from 42 points down in a prelim and won?
It's a very good question.
I know you won't have it, but have a look at it, because I don't reckon it may have ever happened to get there before. We're back in the middle. Good sentence, Jim, by the way. Dangerfield went and got it. And then a stiff arm. And inside 50 with a long one. Alier to come in from the side. Brings it to ground. Numbers here. Motlop not hard enough at the footy.
Wouldn't go and get it.
And then he went and got it via the hands of someone else. It's hoofed around to the top of the square and a free to Sydney. Holding in the square.
Well, Stephen Motlop's got to make a decision here. Either come out and have a crack, or you're just going to be pilloried after this sort of performance, because his man's already taken a couple of intercept marks. He hasn't touched the footy, and he stood and watched then while there was a hard ball at ground level about a metre in front of him to go and get.
Well, there's your Shell V-Powers, the chief in ripping form tonight. Special comments designed to improve performance. Chris Judd with us now. Motlop with some space. Caressing kick was well weighted. And he found Josh Caddy directly in front. Going to kick it almost from the 50-metre line, so be right on his distance, Josh Caddy.
And they're the players that Geelong need to get involved. They need Motlop to have an impact. They need Caddy to have an impact. And this would be great for Caddy to kick this.
He's kicked 20 goals this year, Josh Caddy. Just good work for a midfielder. Kicks it from 51 metres. It's off to the left. Didn't really ever look like it was on line. So 7-2-44 Sydney, 3 behind Geelong, 2 minutes 50 remaining. Triple M National Crime Check scoreboard.
Rampy to bring it in. Sideways, he sees Grundy, gets it to him, handball inboard, not a great one. Sets Lloyd a task. He's got to flick it back to Joey Kennedy, and now Grundy high and wide. Naismith parked under the footy. Smith with him, it's bashed over. Might have been kept in by Menegola, no. It's out. The outer side to be thrown in, so 2:30 left. A big first turn this from the Swans. They blitzed Adelaide last week. They're doing the same to the Cats. 7 unanswered goals to start a prelim final.
Boundary throw in, southern stand wing side, half forward for Geelong. Kick out of the contest from Duncan. Inside 50, Grundy in front, Hawkins picked it up, and then his handball looking for and finding Henderson. Alier got him straight away. Just reads the play really well, Alier. Now Lloyd flicked a handball out. Menegola's going to get it again for the Cats. Kennedy, good tackle on him. Mitchell got it back to Kennedy in the end. The boundary line was the winner on that occasion. Boundary throw in 65 round from the Geelong goal. Two-man.
Yeah, JB, only once has a team come back from 42 points plus in a prelim for quarter time. That was, believe it or not, Geelong back in 1931. They trailed by 47 and won the game by 5 against Carlton.
Jeez. So they're going to have to make some sort of history here. The Cats, that's holding the ball against Jones, surely. So Blitzarves from outside 50 will take a set shot if he wishes.
They've just got to find a way to get a goal on the board. They've had a couple of opportunities. Joel Selwood missed a sitter. We saw Caddy miss one from 50 out directly in front. They've got to find a way to get the scoreboard ticking over the Cats.
Inside the last minute and 40 seconds, so they're running out of time if this doesn't go through. Drop punt on the way. They like it from behind the goal. It's touched. In fact, it's thumped back into play. And Grundy's got to take it out of play, and it'll be thrown in.
Gee, it was a good kick from Blitzarves all the way. Dead set, middle of the goals. We get the view on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. A great punch from Rampy.
Seriously outplayed the Cats here. The Swans is the understatement, 41-point lead. But all those little ones that may go the other way are also with Sydney. As Hanbury flies through, got it back. And in the end, it's landed in the lap of Danger, the champ. He's tackled and turns it over. Ben McGlynn clears half back. Harry Taylor back there on the wing. Little fumble.
No.
Just a real nervous one for Harry Taylor. In comes Rowan. Stolen out of his arms. They're out again. If it sits for Franklin, he'll run to the edge of 50. Handball over the top to Jack. Going to get back on his left. Little chip's okay. And Patley takes the mark.
Play on.
Umpire's called play on, Chief.
Bizarre.
Well, I can't work that out at all. It's ended up with Dangerfield. I put the binoculars down, Jim, and was waiting for the shot at goal.
Not far enough was the kick, maybe. Anyway, it comes to Duncan at half forward, streaming inside 50. He punches it low and wide for another behind. 4 points Geelong. Here the Sydney fans not happy at all. 40 points they trail by Geelong.
Clear mark. That's a clear mark, unless he said it wasn't 15. He must have called not 15.
Considering it went 30 metres, that would be an interesting call.
Long ball going to go in the Alir direction. His hand's normally pretty good. He gets his body taken out from underneath him. Mackie, haven't called his name much. Inside 50 and it into the hands of Hawkins.
The UN ambassador just looks a little bit sore down there too.
And he does. So this kick could well be after the siren. In fact, pretty sure it's going to be. 15 seconds left. Alir
He's in a lot
all
of distress.
sorts.
Yeah, that's a worry.
Really distressed and worried about his knee down there.
We'll get to Doc in just a moment. Let's have a look at this kick first. It's going to come after the siren, I reckon.
Hyperextended the right knee.
So Tommy Hawkins, shot on goal, big angle, 45 out, huge kick for the Hawk, and it's narrow. Nearly kicked it out in the full.
Man on the mark.
So behind, 5 points only in that term. Goalless the Cats. Sydney 7-2-44, 39-point quarter-time lead. Doc.
Not great, Joe B. Alir just coming off now with the assistance of the physio and training staff. Just seeing the vision. It was a hyperextension injury, and he immediately grabbed his right leg, which is always a really bad sign. So he has put his anterior cruciate under a lot of stress. So not looking good at the moment, Joe B.
Walking into the huddle, though, Doc, and with a couple of trainers next to him, obviously, but that's better than being on a cart and going down to the rooms.
Yeah, certainly. Well, he would have put his knee under a lot of stress with that hyperextension, and as we saw with Gary Rowan last week, with that sort of injury, you do get that bone bruise, and that hurts like blazes. So that's why he grabbed his knee. Now, as far as his anterior cruciate goes, the physio and the doctor will just settle him down, just have a look at him in the cool light of day, probably take him down to the rooms. We'll keep a close eye on him, but as you say, he's in the huddle at the moment.
7-2-44 Sydney, if you don't mind, and the Cats are 5 behinds only. The Swans take a 39-point lead into quarter time on the National Crime Check scoreboard. Police checks fast and 100% online. And for McDonald's, play the Monopoly game at Macca's. 1 in 5 chance to win great prizes instantly. Huge start to the first prelim. Juddy and the Chief next, along with the Duke. The boys down the bottom. And Ash Chua. The McDonald's Triple M Rocks Finals footy. The Cats trail by 39 points at quarter time. Doc, straight back down to you, Alir.
JB, he's on the bench. Good news, they haven't taken him down to the rooms. He's got a little bit of strapping on, but I'm not sure what that's doing. The docs are just talking to him. I think we'll get more of an update in the next few minutes. But at this point, it's looking relatively optimistic.
Bob Jane Team Arts, Doc, Juddy and Chief.
Just a very sharp start, wasn't it? They've just looked too clean, too strong. Their tackle pressure has just been enormous so far.
Ash, from you, Hardiaka.
Franklin, number 1 ranked player, 9 possessions, 1 major.
So a 39-point lead the Sydney Swans take into this second quarter. A long, long way back from here for the Cats. So let's get it underway. Picked up by Danger. That's what they need. Early inside 50s. Henderson, they loaded up with a big forward line. Reece Stanley is the deepest. Hawkins Can Guthrie get it down there? Out of one-on-one now. Blitzarves, look at the tackle from Heaney. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely nailed Blitzarves. Henderson, it might have been. Super impressive effort.
No,
it was Blitzarves.
Right. And that's the difference. They're too slow. The Swans' ability to put pressure straight on is so much better than the Cats, who are just allowing the Swans to hang on to possession when they get it.
Not a great kick from Kennedy. Kicked it straight to Duncan out of side. In fact, it's Buse.
He needs to switch direction, but they just keep going up the line.
Not much for him to go to, as the Chief said, so he's just got to hack it forward. Heaney in good shape here, gets a fist away. Guthrie just ran past the footy. Motlop had a very, very nervous moment over the ball again, and then just got gang tackled. Franklin missed the ball with his boot. Cats fans want holding the ball, not going to get it. Selwood tries to drag a high free, doesn't get that. Blitzar's handball forward. Buse is bashed into. The physicality, the Swans enormous. Joey Kennedy's handball back to Parker. Parker, beautiful ball on the 45. Gets it to Gary Rowan. Rowan, high and long forward. McGlynn out the back. Needs the ball to bounce for him. Duncan did really well. Maintained his composure, won a free.
He did brilliantly, Jim. Absolutely brilliantly, Mitch Duncan. It's not easy to run past Benny McGlynn. Oh, no.
Oh, they've turned it over horribly. Gary Rowan's got a give. It was dropped by Bartel, and that is a dagger through the heart for Sydney. 8 straight to start the prelim final. 45-point lead. And the body language of the Cats, it was Duncan's kick to Bartel, is just horrible at the moment. Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard, 50 plays 5. What about that?
Couldn't have been a worse turnover. They actually had 2 players there, the Cats. Gary Rowan was in between the 2. Bartel got one hand to it but couldn't control the ball. Straight over the top. And he just burst away from them, Gary Rowan. This is going from horrible to just absolute nightmare for the Cats.
It was still beautifully done, Juddy, by Rowan. Wasn't that the one-handed pick-up and just explode out of there?
Still got to finish it, but even the play before to McGlynn, they just look so much more dangerous entering their forward 50 Sydney than when the Cats go inside theirs.
45-point lead to the Swans. Howie to you in a sec as Danger brings it away. Long ball forward to the back. It's controlled by Smith, who then wants to concede.
Oh, that's dangerous.
And he does, and it's allowed.
Because he had 2 efforts to rush that. The first one wasn't effective, and then he followed it up. But he started the rushing through process. See, from a good, almost the top of the goal square.
Howie, we'll get down to you.
When you're hot, you're hot. Aliir doing run-throughs on the boundary line at the moment. Taped up on the medial side, looking to come back on shortly if he passes that fitness test.
Thanks, Howie, from Bob Jane T-Mart's contested mark from Parker. Little fumble from Xavier Richards. Jody, that lead-up target, and that time Richards dropped it, but they've been able to hit the ball through the middle of the ground with ease, Sydney.
Yeah, Geelong have just struggled to press up on that leading forward, and it's been a bit of an Achilles heel for them all year, and it's looking that way again tonight.
44-point lead, 3 minutes into the second quarter. Extraordinary night here. Parker
Look at
again.
these boys.
They're just smashing them around the contest. Extraordinary jack. Zach Jones flicks it back into the corridor. Nick Smith had the pirouette out. Good tackle applied, and then it'll be hold of the footy. It was Selwood who got hold of him. One arm was pinned, and
again.
And then inside 50, Grundy in a one-on-one. Good mark to the big hawk.
That's a great mark. I was about to say, Sydney were the quickest to get 2 or 3 players running back before any of the Cats were breaking forward into space. That is just a one-on-one contested mark. He used his bulk to hold Grundy off. It's a really good mark from Hawkins. But most importantly now, this is just an absolute must kick for Tom Hawkins to get the Cats rolling.
So he's directly in front, 40, 35 out. No wind at all at the MCG, so no reason why this shouldn't go right through the middle. The big hawk, first of the night for the Cats, beckoning, and the kick is there. Just 1-6-12 Geelong, 8-2-50 Sydney. Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard.
And to say the Cats needed that is certainly an understatement. Just looking at the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay, that goal started with Joel Selwood's tackle in the middle, and there's been a huge contrast between Sydney's tackle pressure and Geelong so far, and the Geelong skipper really being one to stand up in that instance and try and get some momentum for the Cats. Pump the ball in long, and a very good contested mark to Hawkins, but they're going to need plenty more of that to get in the game.
Chris Judd with us, the Brownlow Medal winning superstar, the Chief Jason Dunstall, time premiership champion with the Hawks, for the Shell V-Power special comments. Amazing game this one, 38-point lead to the Swans. They finally kicked their first goal, the Cats, and it came at the 4-minute mark, the second term. Danger just willing himself and his team into it. Well done, Scotty Selwood, picked it up at half-4. They come back through the corridor. They sell themselves into more pressure. Danger tried to muscle his way out. He left the footy behind. Through came Hewitt. Joey Kennedy's handball chopped off. Bounces back under the lap of Scott Selwood. Tom Mitchell in there. Was still in the centre of the MCG. Slightly in attack for the Cats. And it eventually doesn't come out. It'll be balled up.
Gee, you're trying to get some momentum going. The hand pass from Scott Selwood was horrific. He was under no pressure. He's got a teammate running forward to deliver the ball inside 50, and he puts it on his bootlaces.
Ball thrown up, blitz halves, straight down to Heaney. Heaney to Hanbury. Hanbury inside 50, ball bounces in front of about 4. Harry Taylor wrapped up straight away. Doesn't want to release the footy. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. It'll be thrown up 30 out.
Long time since I've seen Harry Taylor this shaky.
It's true, and even then it was Geelong's third man up that tapped the ball out, and there was 3 Sydney players there to rove it.
Brought down by Smith, blitz halves, a little left foot ball, bounces at the centre of the G. Hawke won a very good one-on-one. Gave it off to Caddy, and now Guthrie. Guthrie through the middle, bashes it forward, but no one home. All Sydney back here.
Yeah, Rampy read it beautifully. Little chip out wide, not great, but bounced well for Lloyd. His man Motlop just needs to lift. Heaney free kick, taken off the footy. On centre wing, in this side, Isaac Heaney. Now the run from Hewitt again. Loose men running forward for Sydney. Hewitt's kick, Enright back there. Courageously goes back to the flight. McLean came front and centre. Now they've got a bit of an issue. Jasny upended. Little handball over the top from McLean to Richards was beautiful. The quick reply to Sydney. They get goal number 9. It's 9-2-56. The Cats 1-6-12. The Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard.
They're just running in a swarm. They get more numbers. They get there first. They just attack the player with the ball if a Geelong player happens to get the ball or gets his hands on the ball. They create the loose drop, and then they've got numbers to mop it up. This is just super impressive from Sydney. It's the best they've played all year, I suspect.
Just with the play-ons, 16-2, Sydney's way hard yakka.
Chuddy and Chief extended Shell V Power special comments. Down to you, boys.
Aaliyah still on the bench, so hasn't come on the ground after that fitness test.
Bob Jane T-Marts, Howie in the dock. So the Swans just continue to pump bullets into the Cats. Free kick is going to go Smith's way out of the middle.
Stay out. No.
Jack Smith off a step. Long ball forward. Fist away from the Sydney defence. Grundy's control of the ball was beautiful. Got it down to Rampy, who actually fall on the ground. Laidler brought it away. Gave it to Jones. Jones to McGlynn. Good mark, Hughes.
Did really well, Jed Hughes. One of the 2 inclusions tonight to Jasny. They get a repeat inside 50. Stanley, a little too tall for that man coming through. Handball from Blitzars back to Stanley. He's got to go back under some more Swans pressure to Enright. And he coughed it straight up, Corey Enright, to Mitchell. Really clever underground handball. Harry Marsh back there under pressure. Kick was misguided in the end. Through came Selwood. So a nice little 30 seconds here for the Cats. Buse, but the pressure's still enormous from Sydney. Duncan tries to get through a couple. It was Naismith in the end who broke it up. Men and goal. And McLean got him. The little man McLean was just too quick, Chief.
This has been impressive from Sydney.
Play on.
You wonder how long they can maintain it, Chief, but you also wonder how long they have to maintain it. They're that far in front on the scoreboard. Long ball forward. Kieran Jack on Mackie. Mackie got back onto the footy, but now he's got a problem. Will want the boundary and gets it. The full scoreboard for you, 9-2-56 to 1-6-12. Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard. We've played 9.5 in the second term. 9 goals to 1. As Tippett just takes it out of the ruck, end-on-end ball is going to land straight in the arms of Harry Taylor.
Chief said he's had a really shaky night, Harry Taylor. And again, that
kick.
kick is just an absolute shocker.
Lucky.
Ended up in the arms of McCarthy through the corridor, but more luck than good design. Motlop's had no impact. Now takes a bounce. Runs the members' wing. Wants Reece Stanley to come at him. Clever kick. Well done, Rampy. Just beat him winning the one-on-one. Dangerfield attacked it hard. So did Hanbury. Jasny's pushed forward. They tackle him strongly. Dispossessed the footy. Nick Smith dispossessed. Now Dangerfield handball over the top. Henderson hasn't looked likely at all. Picked up by Smith. Henderson wrapped him up. Cats will get a ball up 30 metres out from the punt road end goal. but the scoreboard reads like this: 9-2, 56 Sydney, 1-6, 12 Geelong.
44-point lead to the Swannies. Third up again in the ruck, but Hanbury was dispossessed. Here's Motlop with a snap. Can he produce something? No. Behind 1-7-13 Geelong, 9-2, 56 Sydney. 56 volts of power beyond belief is the Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard. And Jones will bring it back in. Danger having a big night, Ash.
Yeah, leading ball winner with 18 disposals.
Long ball in. It's marked really well by Kolajasnik.
Had 18 in the first quarter last time they played Danger, but could go and have a big go. Look at that class.
He's been the one, hasn't he? He's been the one that's just been too clean and too strong in the tackle.
It's like a catcher's mitt, that, Chief. He just stuck it in the ball.
Tell you the other thing that's sticking out too, 61% by foot the Cats, Sydney 77%.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful again. And this target they're getting up from half forward through the middle of the ground, Xavier Richards on this occasion. They've found so consistently, Sydney. Now they're prepared to concede some ground and just get a little bit of tempo working. Rampy to Grundy under some pressure from Scott Selwood. Back to Rampy.
Yeah, but they've got time to fumble, mop up and still have time to make a decision.
Rampy uses all the time the Chief just spoke about. Pops it down the wing. Good mark there, Lonergan. Attack full-chested and they're away here, the Cats.
Quick release to Selwood. Drags the kick to Motlop. It wasn't a great kick. Kieran Jack won a hard ball at ground level. All the numbers still with Sydney. Jones tried to bring it away. Couldn't. Jack taken high. No, ducked. Good bit of umpiring.
Holding the ball.
And now holding the ball. I'm not so sure about that bit of umpiring.
I think the duck constitutes pride these days. I reckon it's not a bad call.
Handball off. Inside 50, the Cats. Hawke with a hand in there. Couldn't take it. Danger at the back. He's taken the ground. Marsh sort of piles in on top of him. And the ball locked up in the arms of Hawkins to be thrown up.
So is that Danger Juddy playing out of the goal square at the moment?
He's moved forward now. Yeah, he certainly spent most of the time in the middle, but they're trying something different with him up forward now.
I reckon he copped a bit in that tackle too. A little slow getting up, Danger.
43-point Sydney lead. They're defending at the moment. Joel Selwood picked it up, jammed it on the left boot. Rampy playing the goalkeeper role and read it beautifully. Took a mark right on his own defensive line. So Lockie Henderson, the inclusion tonight. A surprise forward, man. What's his hard yakkas been?
He's only had 2 handballs for the game and scoreless.
Hasn't been near it, has he, Rampy? Long kick out of half back. Good mark taken in front, Harry Taylor.
When this ball goes inside 50, it'll be Geelong's 24th inside 50 for 1 goal 7.
Steers it straight to Jones.
Sydney have had 21 inside 50s for 9 goals too. So the quality of ball going forward, now a 50-metre penalty for abuse against Hawkins.
About to say, Tommy Hawkins gave Matt Stevic one of the great cooks and has cost his side a 50 on the back of it.
They're doing themselves no justice, the Cats. Desperate to get back into the contest and they're giving, you can't give away free kicks. You can't turn the ball over the way they are.
So Jones, brother of Nate, of course, the captain of Melbourne. Just a long ball inside 50. Xavier Richards, it won't quite get to him, to the front. Mitchell, little inching kick forward. Joey Kennedy has a nice attack on it. Tries to get a soccer through to the bud and then socks it himself into the goalpost for a behind. 1-7-13, 9-3-57. Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard.
Corey Enright, just a short one to Mitch Duncan. The left back pocket. City end. That's where the Cats are at the moment, defending. Short one to Stevie Motlop. Still inside defensive 50. Swans really press up, as the sides tend to do with a lot of numbers 4. He kicks a high ball. Naismith, Reece Stanley. Fisted away by Naismith through the lap of Lloyd. Lincoln McCarthy in there. Scotty Selwood. Ball comes tumbling out from Menegola. Bartel picked it up, got a bit of space. Rare thing for the Cats. One-on-one opportunity. Blitz arms. 2 juggled attempts. Well done back there, Isaac Heaney. And now it's Rampy, who has a heap of time again for Sydney. Able to survey his options. Goes to the wing, one-on-one. Well played, Enright. Double fister in front of Hanbury. And they get a bit of a relief here, the players, with a boundary throw in on the great southern stand wing side of the MCG.
Just look like they're starting to get a bit more conservative with their ball movement, the Swans. They're pretty happy to take a long down the line option and just control the ball.
57-13, halfway through this second term. Naismith to the ground. Mitchell's been very good, this man. Heaney's been brilliant. Handball forward to Mitchell. Just end on ends it to half forward. Lonergan out in front of Bud, who had a great start, but not much since. Mitchell comes through again. Runs to about 55. Long long and straight. In fact, it was Papley, and he did a brilliant job from downtown. It's 50 points. No one saw this coming. Not even the most one-eyed of Swans fans would ever have believed that they would have a 50-point lead approaching half-time in a prelim final. And that's on the Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard.
Just at every contest, the Swans are the ones that are cleaner and take the better option. That time it was Heaney to Mitchell and finished up in the hands of Papley. And it, without being disrespectful to Geelong, it really looks like the under-14s playing the under-12s at the minute. Sydney are just stronger and harder, and it's an incredibly dominant display so far.
Yeah, look, we sit here and we're trying to make a case to get the Cats back into the game. But there's a hand pass there from Lonergan to Enright. Not a great hand pass, but Lonergan goes one-handed, expecting contact straight away. They turn it over, it costs them a goal.
Stanley reefed it forward by hand. They just managed to shin it forward, the Cats. Kieran Jack smashed into that contest. Henderson, he looks off the pace tonight. Lockie Henderson, Lincoln McCarthy, little don't argue on Heath. Grundy was okay. Back to danger, under pressure to Duncan. Picked it up, Duncan steered himself towards goal, loaded up from 50, won't get the journey. Bartel slapped away by Nick Smith. Hawkins sort of gave away a free kick to McGlynn. Hawk picked it up, left foot snapped around the body, high to the goal square. Menegola, he was cleaned up fairly by Grundy. Back to Dangerfield. Danger explodes away to Selwood. Naismith, he ducked. Good call from the umpire. Play on's the call. Back there, Nick Smith tumbles one out to Xavier Richards. Play on, you heard the call. Slick hands from the Swans. Buddy's back there defending. Ran into Lincoln McCarthy. Still got the handball away. It was Kieran Jack in defensive 50. Better pressure this from the Cats. And then Duncan eventually taken high by Parker. So Mitch Duncan free kick, 65 metres out.
How well's this game being umpired, by the way? Absolutely perfect.
Love the tackle from Lincoln McCarthy on Buddy Franklin.
Duncan inside 50, tries to spear one in low. Just the one hand from the Hawk. Lloyd went back to get it. Marsh, good smother Bartel, and Marsh is taken over with the footy. Howie, down to you.
Aliir strapping off ice on the inside of the knee now. We'll get an update from Doc at half-time. It looked like he is done for the day, and if things continue, he'll be the injury story of the week.
Bob Jane T-Marts. Great job down there, Doc and Howie. Ball thrown in. Inside the Cats forward 50. Caddy went without it. It came to McGlynn. And then Laidler just hoisted high. Tippett with the chest but couldn't take the mark. Mackie went and got it. Gave it to Bartel. Sold a little bit of candy. Left foot ball fisted away from Stanley. Through came Jones, did pretty well. It came into Duncan, who drew another high contact free.
Joey Kennedy's tackle just slipped a little high there from Mitch Duncan. Chemist Warehouse replay screen.
Scott.
Still going to be too far out to score. Mitch Duncan.
Yeah, left arm over the shoulder. Good decision.
Have to kick at 55, which I'm pretty sure is beyond Mitch Duncan.
Virtually every Swan player in the defensive 50. Their work rate's been extraordinary, Sydney.
50-point lead to the Swans. 7 minutes remaining in the half. Duncan unloads with as much as he possibly can, and in the end he got the journey, but was never online, so another minor score. Geelong are 1-8-14, Sydney 10-3-63, Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard.
It's just one goal, and we've got 6.5 left in this first half.
Extraordinary, Jim. They've had half a dozen more inside 50s, the Cats.
Long ball down the line. Tippett, good hands.
Darcy's man.
Did a great job there, the big Kurt Tippett.
I'll tip this, Juddy.
And just wants to pound it long down the line. Enright to come in from the side. It's broken up in the air by Richards. He went and got it, Xavier. Hanbury's hands really clean to Heaney, to Parker. Great tackle, Bartel. Then got in his back, I reckon. No,
that could have gone either way.
It was a great tackle. He sold Joel Selwood into trouble. Enright coughs it up. It comes back to Scott Selwood. He didn't really want to access the ball too hard at ground level. All the way back to Buse. Buse' left foot ball is just going to end up in the hands of the skipper.
Joel Selwood's night look like, please, two-man?
He's had 11 possessions and 8 tackles.
And fighting as hard as you'd always expect from the champ. His kick not great. Nick Smith had a good play on it. Didn't quite take the mark. He was taken off the footy fairly. On the edge of 50, this ball is punt right in. Little slick handball from Menegola. Motlop, who really hasn't looked likely tonight. And he gets smashed into by a couple of Swans. They force him over a boundary throwing punt road in deep in attack for the Cats. Aliir, the injury story, Doc, and Howie all over it down there. Ice on the knee, and he looks with a jacket on to be potentially done for the night. Might have been mozzed by the Prime Minister, Aliir.
Thanks for that, Malcolm. Fist away. He's going to land into the path of Hawkins. He goes to ground. Gets it to Menengola, who retreats further back to Mackie. Great smother on Mackie from Rampy. And back down to you, Howie, in the dock.
Doc, Aliir for next week if the Swans get that far, which they look like they're doing at the moment.
Howie, he'll be scanned in the next 24 hours, I'd imagine, and that will show what the damage is. At this point in time, it's relatively good news. They strapped him, they gave him a fitness test, and he looked okay, but I think given the state of the game, they're just icing him up.
So Selwood bashed out of it. Joey Kennedy and Bartell fight for it at ground level. So does Richards. McGlynn taken high, no free as you heard. Duncan taken out of it by Rowan, who's been very good, and his kick goes off his boot and out of play to be thrown in out of side.
Just ticking every box at the moment, Sydney. There is no facet of their play that you would say isn't absolutely supreme.
5 minutes remaining in the half. 63 plays 14. Incredible display from the Sydney Swans. Cats have just kicked the one goal. Approaching half time. Amazing stuff. Joey Kennedy, we're on the southern stand wing side. A lot of numbers around it. Caddy tumbles over with the footy, another boundary throwing.
It's just a stunned MCG, isn't it? The people can't believe what they're seeing, I don't reckon.
Just for hardjacker stats, Geelong have committed 32 turnovers inside their forward half of the ground. Sydney only at 12.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. It's a bizarre atmosphere, isn't it? The Cats fans just had no concept this was going to happen. That was a little fumble there from Selwood. Chief got a free kick in the end.
Very lucky, as he fumbled the ball that came straight to him to start with.
The most free kick player in the history of the game, Joel Selwood.
Yep.
Just draws them in all the time. This is an ordinary kick from Duncan. Good luck marking that. And it was Laidler who dropped off and just took it easily in front of Hawkins, 2-on-1.
And that's what they've allowed to happen all night thus far, is forwards get engaged in a one-on-one and Sydney get an extra back that can drift in and take an uncontested mark.
Heaney, speaking of which, takes an uncontested mark at half-back. And then just high down the line. Well done by Naismith to come back and make a contest and get the footy out of play.
Jeremy Laidler and Zach Jones, they're pretty handy players to be able to call up when you get a couple of injuries down back. And Laidler so far tonight especially has been really good for Sydney.
Your former teammate, Juddy?
Yes, one of the very good blokes in the AFL as well.
I had to ask you what sort of a unit you're dealing with there.
Straight up and down unit, but a good one.
Guthrie fell on top of the footy. McGlynn went to find it. So did Joey Kennedy. Somehow extricated the ball, gave it to Hanbury. Here is Jones, stretching off half-back, inside 50, looking for Rowan, got hands to it. I don't reckon they were first hands. Again, a very good decision. And Rowan's taken a ground ball, going to be thrown up.
But the difference there is, even though he doesn't get paid the mark, he halves the 1 against 2. At the other end, it's an intercept mark to the Swans when they've got 2 against 1. The Cats had 2 against 1, and the best they could do is break even.
Yeah, good decision from the umpire. Kimmis Warehouse replay screen, little finger on it from the Cats. Oh, Heaney sold a bit of candy and then bent it around on the left foot off the side of the boot in the end. But through heavy traffic, he looks like every bit of star eyes at Heaney. It's gone out of bounds on the full.
Geelong aren't getting out of that sort of traffic when they win the ball. They're being sweated on by 3 or 4 desperate Sydney tacklers.
Buddy this term, Ash.
Yeah, Buddy Franklin, JB, he's only had 2 possessions.
Kick back in, fisted away by the Swans defenders. Joel Selwood to Motlop, to Cowan by hand. Cowan goes looking for Henderson, gets belted away from him. Dangerfield's been good, got it to Selwood and then got it back. The danger on the left, kick smothered. Motlop and McGlynn's kick smothered. It comes to the back and Mitchell. Laidler down behind play. Mitchell's kick, handball was smothered. Now Jones with some really nice composure gave the handball to Jack. Jack tough for McGlynn, and then Richards back to Jack, and Jack sees something he likes out wide, gets it to Nick Smith outside 50, left foot high ball inside 50. Rowan dangerous to the back. Bartell the only one there.
Read it well, Jimmy Bartell. Last line of defence. Now the veterans line up Mackie, Enright, short one okay to Danger. Huge amount of the ball true man Danger, but not really where they want him getting it back there at half back.
22 disposals for the game.
2 minutes 45 remaining in the half. Geelong, unbelievably, just the 1 goal. 63 plays 14. Mackie, half-back, can't get any flow going, so they have to come out members' side. I can just see Harry Taylor going down Stairs, we'll get to Howie in the dock on that in a minute. Broken up again, the Swans. Heaney, almost half a throw. Play on. Hewitt's kick finds Rowan with space, 60 out.
He's got the bud coming at him, slips it over the top, and he's got it. 45 from home, this man. Howie in the dock, down to you.
Harry Taylor receiving treatment on his right hand the last couple of minutes. Doc gone down for a shot, you think?
He'll get a jab on that fifth knuckle in the right hand. He looked very sore. He'll come up with it strapped as well, Howie.
And again, this has come from a turnover from the Cats. They changed direction, created space. I think it was Enright that just had the simple chip over the top to Blitzarf, misses the target. All of a sudden, Buddy's lining up for goal.
This to make it 55 points with a minute and a half left in the half. The Bud, the September specialist. Oh, look at this. Just have a go at him. He takes the piss this time of year, Buddy Franklin. It is as simple as that. 11-3-69, 1-8-14. It is a smashing of Geelong by Sydney in the first prelim final.
Well, I'm running out of adjectives to describe how well Sydney are going, Chief. Perhaps time to start using a couple of foreign languages because it's incredibly dominant. As you say, Geelong just can't control the ball. They're turning it over, and Sydney are pouncing and making them hurt down the other end.
Who would have predicted this? 55-point lead approaching half-time, minute 36 remaining. Just one goal to Geelong. And this has been stunning from the Sydney Swans.
It's the most aggressive, rabid attack on the ball or the man with the ball that I've seen all year.
And I don't reckon too many Cats are handling it too well, Chief.
I don't think many teams would handle this too well, Jim.
They were amazing last week too, Sydney. What they did to Adelaide that first 15 minutes of the game just knocked them off their axis, and they didn't recover either. This is Cowan, emerges out of the middle of the ground, ran too far. This is a nightmare for Geelong.
So he got that in the centre circle and he's run nearly to the edge of the square. And instead of having a quality inside fit, in fact, he got it on the defensive side of the centre circle. So he's run a good 30 metres without bouncing it.
These three umps are sharp. I don't know who they are, but they're doing a very good job and stating a very strong case for next week. Picking up everything. Dane Rampy will use his right side now and go long. Hewitt in a one-on-one. Selwood just slapped it back into the path of Enright. Enright's hands to Motlop, to Guthrie. Guthrie over the top. Enright got it back, and Rowan really hard at the contest again. Slapped it out of the hands of Cowan. And over. 55 seconds left. 55-point lead.
Tell you what, we just saw the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay. The best Falcon you've ever seen, Paddy Dangerfield on the left foot, kicked the ball straight into the chin of Jeremy Laidler, who has a little bit of blood coming from the mouth. It was just point-blank smash.
Not very often a Falcon draws blood, Chief, is it?
It's a cracker.
It's just taking the wind right out of Laidler. Here's Corey Enright, clever little toe poker to Selwood, and it's Scott Selwood. 55 metres out, punt road end.
And that's where all the kicks that they've marked have been around the 50-metre arc or just outside, and they haven't been able to convert from there.
Dan Hanbury on all fours behind play. We'll get back to that with Howie in the dock to the goal square. Swans all the answers in the air. Blitzarves took it front and centre under pressure, slapped it forward. Kieran Jack back there. The skipper tonight, he puts an up and under job in. Here comes Franklin. He got rid of Joel Selwood fairly. Back to Lonergan. Bartell's going to go with the right foot. Banana bender. And from a standing start, finally the Cats get their second goal. And the champ Jimmy Bartell delivers it. With 8 seconds remaining in the first half. Geelong 2-8-20. Sydney 11-3-69. Triple Amigo Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard. Let's get down to Howie in the dock.
Hanbury looks like he got a knock on the back of the head. In further news, Harry Taylor has come up after getting that pain relief in his right hand. So we'll see how he comes out in the second half.
Pretty miraculous goal from Jimmy Bartell there. About 45 metres out, a banana on the right foot. And he hasn't been the worst for the Cats so far tonight. He's put his body on the line. A couple of big tackles and a goal late in the second quarter. Just watching the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay, you've got Horse Longmire going off his head in the box.
And it's 9 goals up.
Coaches certainly hate goals very late in quarters.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with that, the Horse, was he? There won't be any further scoring unless there's an off-the-ball free kick or something special out of this centre bounce with 8 seconds remaining. So 49 points, Swans lead. Remarkable first half of the first prelim final. Naismith, Stanley give him the hit out. Parker again. It's the Swans in the contest who've done it all tonight. And there's your half-time siren. And what an incredible story it tells. 11-3-69 Sydney. Cats 2-8-20. Triple M Ego Outdoor Power Equipment scoreboard. 56 volts of power beyond belief. Two-man.
Yeah, Joel Selwood, number one ranked player in that quarter, 12 possessions and 4 clearances.
Hardyacker stats, thanks to the true man. Hardyacker making hard work look easy. We're going to dissect this one at half-time with Chris Judd, the Chief Jason Dunstall. Howie and the Doc got a bit of work to do down there. Aaliyah Hanbury was off late. We'll check in with them. But what a remarkable half from the Swans. They have got 1 foot inside a grand final. They lead it by 49 points here at half-time as thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks football. This is the halftime break for IGA Liquor. IGA Liquor, how locals like it, and a stunned MCG on a perfect night in Melbourne. Just assessing what happened here in the first half. 11-3-69 Sydney. The Cats are 2-8-20. We've got two of the best analysts in the game, Chris Judd and the Chief Jason Dunstall. 49-point Swans halftime margin. Extraordinary scenes.
It's been comprehensive. It's one of it's the single most impressive performance I've seen this year, and we've seen some beauties at different stages. But what Sydney have been able to do to the Cats in the first half of football, keep them to 2 goals from 37 inside 50s is extraordinary. But to then kick 11-3 from their own 27 inside 50s it's incredible conversion. But it's just been done on monstering the opposition around the contest and around the ground ball. They have just had more numbers, harder at the football. They continue to win the hard ball, and then they run harder into space. They control the ball going forward. They kick goals. If the Cats eventually do get their hands on the footy, the bloke with it's under pressure, and he's always kicking to a contest. So this has been perfectly planned from Sydney, and the players have executed it beautifully.
Yeah, and we forget that Sydney were really beat up by GWS only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just watching tonight, they look like a side that were wounded from that defeat, and they're a very proud group and an incredibly competent group. And you just get the feeling that they've got a bit of anger still stemming from that game, and they've just come out breathing fire again tonight.
Chief, your words, the Swans have beat up on the Cats tonight, but you look around the ground and you just see some players from Geelong who've been around a while having really poor finals tonight and somehow have to turn it around. I think of Stevie Motlop. Looks like he would rather be anywhere in the world than at the MCG tonight. Lockie Henderson, cut him some slack. He's come back in the side. He hasn't looked like he's ready to fire at all. You could go through a list of others, Chief, but they've had some poor players.
They have, and even some of the experienced heads. I mean, Harry Taylor's looked very shaky down back, hasn't been his normal self under the footy. Even Corey Enright, now we know he finds plenty of the ball, but he's been a little bit wobbly once or twice, not quite taking the ball first because they're worried about the pressure that's coming. As soon as they get the ball, they are under immense pressure from Sydney. It's not just one person, there's 2 or 3 that are making sure the ball doesn't come out. And they just don't know which direction to look in. And there's no easy bailout targets when they do get the footy. And that's one of the problems for Geelong is they can't buy themselves any time.
Have you seen Dangerfield and Selwood, Juddy, in the first half?
Selwood had a quiet first quarter, but he certainly got going that quarter. And Dangerfield's had a lot of the ball, and both those guys have really been trying to impose themselves on the game. And whilst they've had a fair bit of the footy, I don't think they've had the same level of impact that the Sydney midfielders have had. Started with the tag, Scotty Selwood and Josh Kennedy. They appeared to let that go at a point in time if what I was seeing was happening correctly, Juddy. Is that your reading on it? They just needed to free up and get some more ball winners in there? Yeah, it looks like what had happened. It's certainly not a really hard shutdown tag, but just for Sydney, guys like Mitchell and Heaney running through the middle have just been too clean and too strong. Their tackling pressure's been incredible, but particularly Tom Mitchell's decision-making is something that really impresses me. He's incredibly clean with his hands, and I just describe him as an adequate kick, but he's one of the very elite decision-makers in the competition, and hence he's just an incredibly dangerous player and very damaging for the Swans. A couple of things Chief was nervous about at the start for Sydney was Kurt Tippett and playing with a broken jaw. Kicked 2 first-quarter goals. Hasn't had a big night, but you have to give him a tick because he's competed in the ruck and done what he's needed to do, and their defence losing a couple of really key defenders. They've covered them beautifully tonight.
Done everything expected, Kurt Tippett. In fact, I think it's been a comprehensive team performance. So not everyone's played really well for Sydney, but everyone, when the moments required them to do something, has done what was needed, has fought the hard contest, has won the hard ball, or has squared the tough contest. So they've got a contribution from all 22 players. And I don't think you can say the same thing about Geelong. In fact, far from it. Probably the injuries to key players for Sydney, which is now going to be starting to add up. You've seen Aaliyah go down so far tonight. We've already seen Mills go down.
and a couple of others. They just wouldn't want to lose any more in tonight's game.
That's the only negative story tonight for the Swans is Aaliyah, who, as Juddy said, his night is done with a hyperextended knee. We'll get Dr. Owen White in before the first bounce to give us an update on that 49-point lead. If you've just jumped in your car, that's Sydney's lead here at half-time. Remarkable scenes. Some of the Triple M Hard Yakka stats, please, Truman.
Yeah, thanks, Das. Geelong 5 more inside 50s, but you look at the goal scoring efficiency. Cats at 6%, the AFL average is 25. Swans tracking at 41. In fact, the Cats have not had a scoring shot inside 30 metres. The kicking efficiency, Geelong ranked number 1 this year. They're only going at 62% opposed to Sydney at 74. And you look at the scores from turnovers, 7 out of the 11 majors for the Swans have come from Geelong turnovers. Leading ball winners, Dangerfield 22, Selwood 16 along with 8 tackles. But just some low numbers for the Cats. Menegola 6 is averaging 25 this year. And the Stanley, McCarthy and Henderson yet to register a kick. Combined, they've had 8 handballs and are scoreless. And for the Swans, Rampy's 17 at 100% by foot. Heaney with 16 touches, Mitchell 15, 13 of those contested, and Buddy Franklin Das a dozen touches along with 2 majors.
Triple M Pettis star performer best on ground award. The experts in undercar no ball, Juddy and Chief, we'd like to have a look at this at half-time. Who gets the half-time votes?
I think you could raffle it amongst the Sydney players. Their top 3 possession players in Rampy, Heaney and Mitchell would all be up there, and certainly Buddy's been a star as well. Going to take a miracle for the Cats, True Man, at half-time. They've got to overcome a 49-point lead. I think you said 40-point lead hadn't happened since 1930 in the first quarter. This will take something special, True Man. From here, give us the Herald Sun Supercoach player points update.
Just quickly to ask, the Cats have never won when they've trailed by more than 50 points. At one stage, they trailed by 55 for Hard Yakka.
Nice, True Man.
Just some Herald Sun Supercoach points. Number 1 ranked players, Joel Selwood at 85, Rampy at 77, Dangerfield 69, Parker and Heaney at 63 each. And just tonight's Triple M halftime instant trivia for the Herald Sun. Question is, Geelong lost the 2013 prelim final by 5 points to which team? Answer correctly on Twitter, Triple M Footy. You could be in the running for 2 tickets to this year's grand final. We'll give you the answer straight after the break. It's halftime for McDonald's. Triple M rocks finals footy.
Half-time, MCG, first prelim, 49 points is the lead to the Sydney Swans. And they've pretty much, Chief and Chris Judd here with me, they've pretty much had the game on their terms from the very start. Before we get the thoughts of the 2 superstars doing special comments for Shell V-Power, the question you asked, Ash?
Yeah, Geelong's lost the 2013 prelim final by 5 points to which team? The answer is Hawthorn. So Sean Bent, JB, goes in the running to 2 tickets to this year's grand final.
Marks 27-44 the Swans' way, Chief, and uncontested possession 93-109 the Swans' way, and they lead the tackle count as well.
You can't find anything to hang your hat on from a Geelong perspective, and that's the problem. I mean, we sat there in the first half and we tried to make a case for all the things Geelong might be able to do to just inch their way back into the game, and look, they are the best fourth quarter team in the competition, but they're not going to score 10 goals unanswered in the last quarter to get back in a contest that they have just been completely dominated in.
It's an interesting half-time discussion, I'd imagine, from Chris Scott, because there have been some boys, Chris, Judd, wearing the Geelong Footy Club jumper who haven't had a great half of footy. You just got to be honest.
I don't know if it would be a two-way discussion, Jim. I think it'd be more of an I tell you do sort of a discussion. But look, there's no doubt he'd be disappointed in the output from some of his players. We've been to them already. But guys like Caddy, Lockie Henderson's been quiet, Reece Stanley, Zach Smith, and Motlop's the other one. They really need more output from those guys, and it's almost getting to a pride stage. I don't know if they can save this game, but they certainly need to walk off the ground with their heads held a little bit higher than what they would have walked into the half-time break with.
I reckon it would have been difficult for Chris Scott to actually say too much at half-time, because what can you say when you've been obliterated like this? I reckon the greatest impact he could have would just be to look at blokes.
Yeah.
Just get some eye contact going and just go up and down the line staring at these blokes and just really saying, without actually saying it, you blokes have squibbed it in the first half. You haven't wanted it anywhere near as badly as the opposition. Do
you get the overhead projector, which all the clubs have access to in the coach's room at halftime? Do you pick out 4 or 5 of the one-on-ones where players haven't been good enough and just show them and go, well, where are we at?
You can.
It's the prelim final.
And to be honest, those players will know that it's already happened.
Yep.
But what you get at footy clubs is you've got every one of those Geelong players throughout the year would have said how much they want success and what they'd be willing to do to achieve that. And I think you'd just be reminding them of the words are all good and well during the week, but the big stage is where you get to put those words into operation, and you've still got a half to do something about it.
The Cats are out there already. The Swannies not far away. And could we see history or be watching history repeat itself, Chief? Because Hawthorn last year were belted in the first final in Perth and then came back and emphatically won the grand final. Last week or 2 weeks ago, the Sydney Swans were smashed by GWS up there. And now maybe doing the same thing.
And I think Juddy mentioned it earlier, they were stung by that performance. I mean, they pride themselves on being the most uncompromising team in the competition when it comes to the contest. They got their pants pulled down by GWS. They would love nothing more than to get there and actually get GWS again, regardless of who wins tomorrow. They'd love to be sitting there waiting to see who's going to come through, because if they reproduce this next week, we're looking at the premiers right now.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. Doc and Howie down on the boundary.
Yeah, bit going on down here. The Cats have just come out on the ground. The Doc's got the binoculars out. We can't see Harry Taylor out on the ground. In fact, he's just come out on the ground now. So good news for Harry with that right hand, Doc. But more importantly for the Swans, who, for all intents and purposes, you'd expect to be playing next week. Aliir with the knee. Describe the incident. Describe what he'll be going through during the week.
Yeah, well, he landed awkwardly in that marking contest, Howie, and he hyperextended his knee and a little bit of a twist. And the Docs checked him out at quarter time on the field and gave him the all clear, really, because they put the strapping on with a medial ligament. That's a ligament on the inside of the knee. And got him running up and down. Look, there was a little bit of doubt, a lot of discussion. In the end, they took the strapping off and iced him up. But he'll be having scans in the next 24 hours. There's no doubt he's got a bit of a mild medial, and he may have a little bit of that Gary Rowan bone bruising. So fingers crossed, he might be okay for next week.
The other one during the week, Jared McVeigh, obviously didn't play out the game last week. From all reports, the tiniest of nicks in his calf. So that'll be a 2-week period between when that happened and the grand final.
That's going to be a line ball, Howard, because the scans did show only very minor change, which was surprising given that he did go on in that third quarter but seemingly broke down. And that's relatively good news. You know, the old man injury, Howie, they're unpredictable, and it's going to be questionable. I think it'll go down to the line. They may name him, but who knows whether he'll turn up.
Of Jane T-Mart's Howie and the Doc. I suppose the good news for Aliir, Chief, is they do have that extra day to prepare for a grand final.
They do, but obviously they'll wait to see what the scans are and see how he pulls up. But hopefully he'll be okay to take his place next week.
All right, for McDonald's, play the Monopoly game at Macca's for a 1 in 5 chance to win great prizes instantly. We're ready to start this second half. Huge leaders, the Swans, 49 points. Good bounce. Stanley jumps high. He's one of the players that's got a lift. Tries to get the clearance out of there, can't do so. Scott Selwood on the up. Dangerfield has been prolific. High and long inside 50. Hawkins one out. Gets a fist to it. Ball on the ground inside 50 to Jones, who's been pretty good, but his kick smothered. Gets it back to Hawkins. Hawkins handball. Found a teammate in McCarthy. Now it's Caddy. Caddy's got it held to him. Just released the ball into the ground. Was allowed to get away with it. Still it's a scramble. Hawkins with a don't argue. And then he's taken the ground. That should be holding the ball up all day long. It's not. They concede by hand. And Zach Smith just rides. I think it might have been Richards into the ground. And it's going to be thrown up.
Such good pressure again to start from the Swans' defensive end. The Cats got their hands on 3 times but couldn't even get boot the ball.
Ball up in attack for the Cats. City end. Handy back there. Little left foot toe poker. Didn't go all that far. And the Cats pick it up again, Caddy. A lot of pressure around the footy. Selwood, Scott that was. Kick was smothered. Zach Jones was clever there. Worked his way through some traffic. Underground kick was an awkward one. Jed Buse couldn't take it. Kurt Tippett comes up to half back. Winning the footy back with the Cats, and another strong tackle from Nick Smith. Spills back out in the Henderson direction. He's got a push in the back. It was Rowan who infringed. Lockie Henderson still 2 kicks from home. Send the Cats back inside forward 50.
Yeah, it looks like they've moved him back.
Poor kick straight to Naismith.
It's a horrendous kick.
They defend defensive 50, Chief, better than any club in the comp.
Yeah,
Sydney.
no doubt about that, Jim.
They're just so sort of brutal in the way they don't allow you access to an open player. High ball forward, Dangerfield in from the side, ripper mark, and then gets and goes long inside 50, Zach Smith, but there's an example of it. Laidler folding off, takes a brilliant mark.
And the great work of Rampy there, who didn't allow Zach Smith to actually make a contest.
Through the hands of Hewitt, who's had some nervous moments. The ball at half forward for the Cats. Nick Smith goes back after it. So does Scott Selwood. Into the hands of Caddy. Caddy forward. Hawkins, just a hand to it. Jones has been pretty good. Just walked past Bartel and dumped it long and wide into the path of Parker. Parker out the back to Tippett.
He's in trouble, Parker. He's limping heavily.
Kurt Tippett's kick. We'll get back to that in a minute. It's a big story if that's the case. Good one-on-one win back there, Kolodjasny. He got it across to his teammate in Guthrie.
He's hobbling big time, Parker.
He is.
That's a big story unfolding here. The Cats go to the edge of 50. Bartel is forward of the ball. Got a left foot bender in the Hawkins direction. 2-on-1 Rampy. Look at him. Just won the footy easily, Dane Rampy.
Too easy.
And then he got it to Hanbury. Hanbury to Kennedy under some pressure. Dangerfield's got him. He's gone, Joey Kennedy. Cats ball. Attacking half of the centre. And they'll go back inside 50. Doc, any little update quickly on Luke Parker?
Yeah, he's certainly lame on that left leg, Luke, so we're just going to keep a close eye and hopefully see the replay.
Dialing up the pressure, the Cats, as you imagine. Here's Bewes from outside 50. Long ball. Hits the post halfway up. Sums up their night.
He's coming off Luke Parker. He is one player they don't want injured.
2-9, 21, 11, 3, 69. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
Just appeared, Chief, to get a nice better jog up in that last bit as he's coming off the ground, the Luke Parker.
He's not jogging like it's a soft tissue injury, I don't reckon. Looks like it might be some sort of impact injury.
Let's hope that's the case, Jody. We'll find out from the doc shortly. Zach Jones, he's looked comfortable tonight, gets it to defensive 50. Royce Stanley fell over. Now he's got an issue. Naismith got hold of him. Good tackle applied on Bewes by Isaac Heaney. They had him cold, I thought. Umpire said no prior opportunity. So that will be a ball up inside attack for the Cats. 61 plays 29. It's the Swans with that massive lead here.
Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Harry Taylor continues to sit it out. Hanbury high down the line. Naismith parked under the footy. Henderson with him. Mitchell goes and gets it at ground level. Good handball to Jack. Busting forward, one to Buddy. Kolodjasny came in. Jack went back and got it. Brought to ground. Henderson handballed it straight to Franklin. Franklin in the end to Hanbury. Now Heaney. Isaac long inside 50. Gary Rowan dangerous here. Hands to it, couldn't take it. Guthrie went back and found it. And then gave it to Enright. And they can bring it out of defensive 50, the Cats.
Splits halves at half back. Caddy wants to switch on. He's been called to play. McLean got him, Chief.
How bad's that?
No awareness at all. Umpire called play on and Bernie McLean pounced. Got a target he likes
too. Easy.
Picked it off to Richards, Juddy.
That's just embarrassing, isn't it? And players go up to blitz halves and tell him. I mean, he stood there for an eternity not knowing someone was coming from behind after he'd been called to play on. Teammates didn't tell him. It was like a slow motion train wreck. You could just see it unfolding.
Xavier Richards, younger brother of Ted, had a career high 20 disposals and 2 goals last week. Played a great final against the Crows. A 25-metre kick, more than a 45-degree angle. Punt right end, just steered it a little narrow. Juddy, the Cats' defence has been poor, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Cats look like they've come out a little bit harder around the ball, but their defence there was still just too sloppy. Yeah. And for Xavier Richards to take an uncontested mark 30 metres out from goal was unacceptable.
Guthrie straight down the ground. Joey Kennedy goes and finds it. Handball to Mitchell. His hands are really clean to Hanbury. Back to Mitchell. Back to Tippett. And now Mitchell again. Through to Kennedy. Hard run of Hanbury. Ripped into the ground, holding the ball. Blitz halves the tackler. Advantage paid. I'm not sure there was any.
No.
It comes to Bewes. Okay. And Bewes now. Dangerfield gets run down by Rowan. High ball forward. Caddy unable to win the footy. Brilliantly picked up by Rampy to Marsh. And Marsh bites off a lot with a kick but gets it to Heaney. Heaney's quick release to Nick Smith. And Smith the sideways ball. Jones and Bartel will battle it out. Jones has been pretty good. Gets a handball. Just
let it go.
And Richards at ground level now has got work to do.
Some cruise away from Lockie Henderson, which he did pretty easily without a lot of pressure. They get it to McGlynn, who's had real impact tonight. Benny McGlynn, well done. Kieran Jack, hands and knees, won the footy, got it back to Xavier Richards. Tumbling ball inside 50. Franklin went at it. Fumbled a little one there, Bud. Close attention from Lonergan. Papley's a clever player. Naismith's out the back, the big man.
Can
he pick it up? He ran the 360 and he did well, the ruckman.
Come on. Great
composure for the big man. There was no issue at all there. Despite Chief just getting a bit nervy.
Death riding him.
It was 12-4, 76 Sydney. 2-9-21 Geelong, Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard. Let's get down to Howie in the dock.
Major concerns for the Sydney Swans. Obviously, Aaliyah with that knee issue won't take any further part. Looks very ginger on the bench. Now, Luke Parker, he has also got an issue with his left knee on the medial side. It's being strapped up at the moment. So, again, like Aaliyah, they'll try and get him out there and give it a go. But by gee, they might have a couple short next week, the Swans.
Team Arts, the boys down there.
We do know Ruckman struggled to do anything but tap the ball, so there was no guarantee for Naismith to kick that goal, even though he's 30 metres in space with very little pressure around him. But again, it just illustrates how easy Sydney have it in their forward line at the minute.
Juddy now giving you a clip, Duke, not just the chief.
Expect Juddy to pile in.
I wouldn't have thought you pushed Luke Parker back out there when you're leading by this much either.
No, Hanbury flicks a handball forward. Kieran Jack keeps his feet. And then just a little fumble, but he latched onto Cowan, who picked the footy up. Now they land on top of him on the wing. So full scoreboard, 12-4-76, 2-9-21. 55-point lead to the Swans. And we have played 8.5 in this third term. Where does this game go from here? Long ball forward. Hawkins just got rid of Grundy, but he's a long way from home.
Yeah, you got a loose defender back Sydney, so bombing it's not going to help.
He sits it up across the face of goal. Caddy tried to get rid of his direct opponent, had a little impact. Caddy forward to Harry Taylor. Bouncing ball is going to be touched. Got to be a free kick on the line, surely. You can't just throw a bloke out of the way. They're going to allow it. I don't know who the Sydney Swans defender was, but he's got every right to question that.
Yeah, Nick Smith it was.
3-9-27, 12-4-76. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard. Howie?
Luke Parker back out on the ground with that knee heavily strapped. Looked to be moving pretty well, though. Good news for the Swans.
Umpy. You can't grab a bloke's jumper and rip him out of the way. Don't care where it is on the ground.
Threw him out of the way, didn't he? That was Reece Stanley on Harry Marsh, and ultimately the ball didn't go through until Joel Selwood grabbed it on the goal line.
The Sydney Swans fans are seeing the replay now. That's a poor non-decision.
Just threw him by the jumper.
Just with the Cats, number one for marks inside 50, averaging 15 per game tonight. Only 3 marks inside the forward 50 from 40 entries.
That's your Hardyaker stats there with the two, man. Unbelievable stuff. Margin back to 49 points. Goal to Selwood in the end, as Chief said. He sends it forward again, the skipper. Coming through, Harry Taylor is pushed forward. Kick out from Caddy will bounce through. They get a couple in a row, the Cats, for the first time tonight. Caddy celebrating fairly excitedly there with that one. And they get the margin now back to 43. 12-4-76. That's Sydney. 4-9-33 Geelong. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
And they won the centre clearance there, Geelong, which is something they've struggled to do for large chunks of this game. And when you do win the centre clearance like that and pump the ball in deep, invariably your forwards have one-on-one contests, and Josh Caddy was good enough to capitalise on that opportunity.
They're almost setting up for a kick
Yeah,
out
I'm about
here.
to say,
We've got a review going on. They think it's touched off the boot. So even the Geelong players aren't going back to the centre circle. They're setting up there, and now it looks like it's going to be given a goal. That was really interesting. They went out to the defensive structure for a kick-out zone, but only now are they heading into the middle to set up for the centre square bounce.
I wonder if the celebration was more of a tactical celebration to try and get the goal umpire along. It seemed quite obtuse considering the position of the game.
Yep.
You don't want to make a tool of yourself when you're 50 points down in a final, so maybe he was going tactically at it, Chris. Let's hope so. Back in the middle. 2 in a row, though. First time tonight for the Cats. Smith down. Parker's back out there. Jack went and got it. Evaded the tackle and then just high on the left foot. Got it going forward. Good mark. Taken by Buse. Going back. And he goes 45 through the middle. This has got to work. Selwood, one hand, brilliant. To Dangerfield. Dangerfield to Motlop, who's done bugger all. Can run to 50 and have a bounce. He takes him on. Oh no! Gets the handball away just. But made it very, very tough for anyone wearing the same jumper. Now the footy goes out of play.
He couldn't have made a bigger mess of it if he tried. He had Zach Smith in the corridor with a chip kick. He had Hawkins leading up with a chip kick. He decided to take him on and completely cocked it up.
Chief, when you think of what Joel Selwood did in the centre of the ground there, with a one-handed unbelievable win, to have his teammate let him down there so badly, and Stevie Motlop, that kick from Menegola has gone out of bounds on the full.
And the problem is, when you're down this far, to even get yourself remotely back in the contest, everything has to go right. You've got to take every opportunity. You just can't squander them like that.
They're 43 down. Umpire's just waiting on Rampy, who's behind Dangerfield, to provide a block. A little bit pedantic given where the ball was. Long ball low now. And a free kick. It's going to go Tippett's way for high contact.
Oh, it's going the other way.
Now everyone is out of position.
He's going to hold play up until players react.
So, it's
so you know what? That's actually good umpiring. He admits the mistake, but now he hasn't punished the Swans, and he's allowed them to get back.
Smith kicks it into the pocket for Dangerfield, who dives in, can't take it in right. Off his shin, straight to Mitchell. Not a great handball in search of Hanbury. So just some errors creeping into this Sydney Swans game. First time tonight. Lonergan sells a bit of candy and then pumps it inside 50. One-on-one's back here. Good defensive fist, Lloyd. Footy out of play.
43-point margin. Sydney Swans have dominated this one right from the first moment. They kicked the first 8 goals of the game. Cats have had a bit of play in the last few minutes, kicked the last 2 goals, and we're deep in attack again for Geelong. City end of the MCG. Swans clear it out. Mackie, Cats have got the numbers. He's going to pick it up on the wing. Found a long time to find him, and well done Gary Rowan. Worked him off it, just worried him out of it in the end and won the footy. Gary Rowan.
Yeah, but again, Colajasny went to Shepherd, and then Gary Rowan got past him, and then he doesn't assist Mackie. He puts him under pressure and then gives away the free kick.
Just missed Buddy on the lead up there, Gary Rowan. He's not happy, the big bud. He stands up, Colajasny backs in his leg speed and kicks an unbelievable sack. Mackie made a meal of it. Hanbury came through. Mackie did well to drag him down and contain the footy at half forward for the Swans. 60 metres out, punt road end. 76 plays 33. Halfway mark of the third term of the Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
Almost like a set play, the inverted torp inside 50 as Papley breaks it up in the air. Goes and gets it in the pocket. Well done, Buse, to hold him off. But now he's gone in a tackle. And will be in doubt. Danger here if he's roofed the footy back in. I reckon he's in trouble. Gone.
Holding the ball.
Holding the footy, Buse.
Now that's a tough one. I'm going to have a look at the replay here.
Watch it. Yes, mate. I'm not need to watch. I've seen it.
I'm not sure he dragged it in.
Thank you.
He picked the ball up and then he was tackled. It actually hit legs and went straight back to him. There was nothing he could do about it. He handballed the ball out. It hit a teammate's legs and bounced straight back on his chest. So he's just really unlucky.
What about the umpire saying, I don't need to look at it, mate, I've already seen it?
It's just one of those. It's one of those nights for the Cats, isn't it?
Yeah.
Papley to kick his second.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful kick. Look at that. Straight through the guts. 4-9-33 Geelong, 13-4-82 Sydney. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard, exclusive to Beaumont Trade Club right now. 5 bags of selected ABA adhesives and you get 1 free.
And I think Josh Cowan just having a chat to the umpire because he was the player whose legs the ball hit before it ricocheted back to Jed Buse and he was pinged. But the thing is, when you get a little stroke of luck like that, Tom Papley, go back and make the most of it. It was a beautiful set shot.
Wasted energy complaining the umpires, I would have thought, at this stage of the game.
They don't reverse a lot of decisions, do they?
No, there's plenty of other things the boys can be working on at the minute.
Coming a good little small forward, Tom Papley, isn't he? 4 goals last week, the final, couple tonight. It's his 9-8 game. Yeah.
Gippsland boy.
They found one there, the Sydney Swans, and they're important, as we know. The small forward in the game is at an all-time high. Zach Smith, Danger working hard. Joey Kennedy got him cold. He dropped it, fighting with everything he's got. Danger did well to get it back out to men and goal. The Cats go forward again. Harry Taylor has a good moment. And he outmarked Rampy.
We just saw a great example in the middle of the ground of how long the umpires are prepared to give you if they think there's a chance of the ball coming out.
But it just drops it to the ground, Chief.
How long do you have to tackle a bloke and stop him from using the ball before you actually get a free kick? If the umpires see ball movement, they just let it go.
Just too big for Rampy then. Harry Taylor is got a good amount of height and weight on him.
Little hand in the back.
So Harry Taylor just didn't have a lot of impact in defence. He's been thrown forward. He kicks third goal of the quarter here for the Cats. They get it back to 43 points. 13-4-82 Sydney. 5-9-39 Geelong. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
I reckon this would have been a much better move. I know hindsight's easy for us, Juddy, but I'd much rather have seen Harry Taylor start forward and Lockie Henderson back than the other way round.
Yeah, I think both those guys have looked more comfortable at those ends. And Dangerfield again getting involved, winning the contested ball in the centre square and feeding it out to Menengola. He's trying his best and working really hard to drag his side into the game, but he just needs a few more partners.
43 Just looking at the replay of that, just don't understand how you're not pinged for that. If you just release the footy and it falls out of your hands while you're being tackled, that's holding the ball, isn't it? Interesting interpretation. We're back in the middle. Cats, that's too high. Cats have kicked 3 of the last 4, so they've got something going.
He can draw him, Joel Selwood, can't he?
Joel Selwood out of the middle. Inside 50. Bartel caught at the back. The ball gets its way to the back and Bartel soccers it off the ground. Harry Taylor in the square and evades him. And through for a behind. 5-10, 40, 13, 4, 82, 42-point lead for the Swans.
I think you just see Sydney slow it down here. Just control the game. They won't take any risks. They'll just keep the ball in their hands as much as they possibly can.
42-point lead is the Swans. They've got 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the third term. Zach Jones from halfback. Naismith. Henderson dispossessed him. And
hobbling too.
His kick was smothered, so a boundary throw in. Southern stand wing side centre wing. Who's hobbling?
He's in trouble, Henderson.
Yep. A rolled ankle or something.
Put the hand straight up. He just I reckon he landed on the foot of Naismith, the left foot, so he's probably rolled the ankle.
We'll get to the dock on that when he can. It's the other side of the ground, to be fair to our boys who have been superb tonight. Great hands, Kennedy. Down to McGlynn. Forward ball, Rowan pushed out, it'll get a free.
It's been big for them tonight, Rowan. I know he's been able to play, but that bone bruising would definitely be giving him a bit of discomfort, but he's really stood up today and been important for the Swans.
Tom Mitchell's got down
Long
forward,
ball,
no one's picked him up.
inside 50, and that's a free kick.
Ruckman.
Unnecessary too.
Smart jerk.
Xavier Richards not a ruckman, I wouldn't have thought, Chief.
I've seen him go third up before, Duke.
Jeez, you're not bad, you
He's
mate,
again tackling you in a minute,
I
Joe.
thought it was Naismith that had gone forward.
Johnny calling him in for going there.
Just the odd third up.
I think an apology from the back row is in order. Franklin gets involved, breaks it up from Mackie. Duncan with some speed. They haven't had a lot of run and dash tonight. The Cats takes 2 bounces through the middle. Harry Taylor has had his man Rampy fall over. And he gets a chance to kick a couple in a row here.
So right now, if you're Geelong, you've got to somehow, as a player, believe that you can still get back into this. 42-point margin. You sit there and say, we're the best fourth quarter team in the comp. We've got to get it back to about 30 points or maybe just inside 30 and give ourselves some sort of chance in the last quarter.
So he hasn't switched off, and that's Horse Longmire. He's right up on his toes. He knows there's some work to do yet. This is important. Taylor, interesting little 9-iron type of chip through. It went straight. That's all that counts. And so it's 4 goals to 2 this quarter. The Cats, 82 plays 46. Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard with 6 minutes 47 remaining in the third term.
Another nice goal to Harry Taylor, and we saw him do this against Richmond earlier on in the year when they were down by a bit, go forward and have a real impact for the Cats. And Chief's right, you've got to believe if you're a Geelong player, and you know that Aliir went down early, you know Parker saw, you know Sydney are down on rotations. You just got to take it 1 possession, 1 goal at a time, but you never say never.
Doc and the Howie, Bob Jane T-Marts.
Cats fans getting vocal for the first time of the night. Lockie Henderson in the rooms, Doc.
Yeah, down to the rooms with the doc and the physio. Rolled that left ankle, like Jason pointed out, so they'll be looking at him, maybe a bit of pain relief and re-strapping. I think he'll be fine.
Dangerfield to try and get another clearance, got it to Duncan, who got smashed into the ground.
And as we speak, Gary Rowan's gone and planted himself deep in defence as an extra.
Isaac Heaney slow to get up too, but he did. So 4 of the last 5, the Cats, just to breathe some sort of life into this game. Selwood, little handball underneath. Guthrie went and got it and then got wrapped up. And umpire Stevic's going to throw it in the air again. 6.5 left in this third term. 46 plays 82 Swans way. So you'd obviously still rather be on the Swannies, but it's been much better from the Cats this last 15-20 minutes.
Dragged it in. He's
holding the ball, you heard the umpire say, you dragged it in, Danger. And the Swannies will bring it away through Hewitt, I think it is, who's in the centre of the ground. It would hurt if they were scored against here. Geelong, high ball forward. Buddy comes from about 4 deep. Enright won the footy. Dangerous handball. McGlynn wrapped his direct opponent up. Hanbury went and got it. Chain of handballs ends up with Jones. Jones pumps it inside 50. 1 out. McGlynn dangerous here. Handball just missed the target of Richards. Guthrie run down. Papley went and got it. Taken.
Oh, he was too.
He'll get a free.
I reckon Guthrie might have been taken high just before that one, though. So
Didn't it?
a bit unlucky there, the Cats.
This little man's going to shoot at his third goal.
Well, his last shot was like a dart, straight through the middle from a tougher angle. So you think he'd knock this one over pretty comfortably. There might have been a little bit of high contact on Guthrie, but certainly a clean one on Papley.
So this hurts. They slot this, it's back out to a big margin.
Chris Scott fairly understanding of the Guthrie miss.
So Papley now for his third. And that kick,
Nice.
look at him, he's got the arm up already. The pill hadn't left his boot. 3 for Papley. And as I say, that hurts. Back out to 42 points, 6-10, 46, 14, 488. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
Showing us he's a flusher of the football. He's got no problem from a set shot. Real confidence in the routine. Makes beautiful contact, and they travel straight as a die.
Yeah, 7 goals the last 2 games. He's kicked and just likes a sort of a high knee, strong single arm celebration as well. But he's kicking him very well.
Just with Geelong, 13 more inside 50s, but the Swans going at 41% goal scoring efficiency. That's 16 above the league average. Hard yakka.
Thanks, Stu, man. That's a nice find, isn't it? Tommy Papley. It was a rookie draft elevation.
Yep.
And he looks like a real quality small forward for the Sydney Swans. Back in the centre, free kick. Going away, Joel Selwood. How many free kicks has he had, Truman?
On the hard yakka stat sheet, that's free kick number 6.
Unbelievable amount that he's able to draw. Well done, Isaac Heaney. Just outstanding.
He was looking for Dangerfield, who was eyeing it off, but Heaney cut in front and took a great mark.
Wide beautifully too for Hanbury, who takes it out of side. He is a legitimate star of the competition already, Isaac Heaney. And he's just going to get better and better, and he does it when the heat's at its most intense. Left foot, Hanbury down the line. Speaking of doing it in the heat, thought a good mark was taken out there by, was it Menegola, not paid. Selwood went and got it. Handball to Bartel. Bartel had to go back by hand to Cowan. Forward again to Bartel. Now Jed Hughes, left foot inside 50. Hand in there late, came from Rowan, I think. And it's going to come away for the Sydney Swans through the middle of the park.
That was Lloyd. Nailed Franklin on the lead-up kick, running back with the flight. Richards wanted it. He decided to wait. Got it back to Lloyd, who's going to stand up Mackie and chip a little awkward one for Joey Kennedy. Lonergan opposed to him. In fact, it was called Jasny. Joey picked it up.
Got to be delivered.
He's kicked it further afield by 15 metres and Chiefs all over it.
Oh, and Josh Kenny put his arms out and said, how can you ping me?
Enright, resultant free kick. It's a good ball to Dangerfield. What's that for him, please, Truman?
That's disposal number 31.
3.5 left.
Jed Hughes coming off in trouble too.
Cradling an arm by the look of it. Long ball forward. Grundy gets out in front of Hawkins. Hawkins picks it off. It gets through the hands of Bartel. Mitchell's hands always good. Smith smashed. Look at Heaney go in nice and hard. So does Selwood. He knows no other way. Wrapped up in the tackle on the up to Dangerfield. He's taken in a tipper tackle. Releases to Menegola, who just soccers it forward. And Rowan's back there, but the footy goes out of play. 3 minutes left. Desperate stakes now for the Cats.
Tough fumble from Jimmy Bartel. He runs in and has a shot for goal if he doesn't fumble the handball.
Let's get down to Howie in the dock quickly.
Jeb Hughes, Doc.
Yeah, just indicating he has got a jarred left shoulder.
All over it. Dr. Rowan White and Howie down there tonight for Bob Jane T-Mart. Spills out to Danger. He picks it up and snaps. Goal number 5 for the quarter for Geelong. Margin back to 36 points. It's Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard. 14-4-88 Sydney. 7-10-52 Geelong.
He just didn't go into that stoppage, Dangerfield. He just hovered sort of 5 to 6 metres on the outside of it. No Sydney player decided to go near him, and the ball got farmed out, and he swooped on it and snapped a pretty nice goal from 45. So he's a star, and he's been really good tonight again for the Cats, and they certainly needed that one.
Speaking for one coach I know reasonably well, Juddy, nothing annoys him more than a goal from stoppage.
Yeah.
Inside 50. They are livid when that happens, and John Longmire on the screen absolutely erupted. Good teams just don't cough them up. Danger 33 disposals, been absolutely brilliant. Jack got it forward, but no, free kick is coming back. Geez, they're away too.
Yeah. It's a strange decision, that.
Heaney was out, and they now bring it back to Kieran Jack. So a great result for the Cats.
Stay out. Stay out.
And why advantage wasn't paid there. So Kieran Jack, long ball inside forward 50. Buddy got into the back of a direct opponent. It came to the back in Selwood. Really strange handball. Sold his teammate into all sorts of strife. Parker dispossessed. Caddy's had a quiet night. Got it to Guthrie. Links through a couple to Motlop, who's had a real quiet night. He thumps a long handball to Stanley. Stanley takes him on. Sticks it inside 50. No one home. No one home. Rowan can go and get it and control things to Grundy last line.
Ruckman, Duke.
That was a horror kick from Reece Stanley. Another way to describe it. Grundy goes short, finds Rampy, deep in defence of Swans.
Strange thing about that kick, there was almost a smile from Chris Scott. He's probably as confused as we are. I don't know who he was trying to kick it to.
No, it was a 3v1.
Very bizarre, wasn't it? Swans fighting for a half-back. Kurt Tippett dispossessed. Blitzhalves able to gain about 10 metres by foot. This is Harry Marsh, one of the lesser-named defenders for Sydney, fighting hard for the ball. Menegola dispossessed him, goes back and wins it. Guthrie with a right foot banana from 50. Danger's down there, and Gary Rowan, he's had a good night, Juddy.
He has, absolutely. He's an important player for him. He's got great leg speed. And he's just a bit of that switch player for them. When they need a bit of extra boost in defence, he goes back there and plants himself behind the ball, and he's been important tonight.
Voice of Chris Judd, Shell V Power special comments, holding free kick is going Tippett's way, I reckon.
Holding first. Matty.
So Kurt Tippett, after a very good first half, these umps have become a bit trigger happy, I reckon. They're starting to impose themselves on the game where they don't need to. Tippett high and long down the outer side. Bud to fly, hands to it, couldn't take it. Mackey's hands were broken up. Hewitt got bashed into the ground. Parker hovers over the top of the ball. Mack went back and got it. Handball to Selwood, who's been terrific in this term. Runs a long way and then kicks it off the instep forward. Lands for Taylor. Taken out of it. Now he's going to get run down by Jones holding the ball.
I reckon Zach Jones has played a terrific role for Sydney too. Really enjoyed his game. 17 possessions coming up for number 18. He's used the ball well, changed direction, hit targets. Really liked his game.
32 seconds and counting remaining the third term. Is it just me, Chief, or the Cats look slow tonight? Often happens when you get them smashed, doesn't it? But at times they look very pedestrian in this final. Naki on centre wing. Again, coughing up the handball. The Cats, time to score another one here, Sydney. Buddy Franklin got it back to Jack Cowan. Good tackle on Kieran Jack. 11 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 88 plays 52.
They're just a goal shy of where they needed to be, the Cats, to give themselves a sniff.
They've won the quarter here, Geelong, as the three-quarter time siren sounds. They kick 5 goals to 3 in it. They've drawn the margin back to 36 points. We'll get an injury update from Mahowie in the dock in a minute. There's a fair bit ongoing for Sydney to think about. Cats came back with a little bit of spirit. We'll hear from Chris Judd. We've got Chief Jason Dunstall, true man with the Hardiaca stats. Howie in the dock with the latest injuries. And it's three-quarter time. 36-point lead for the Sydney Swans. It's thanks to McDonald's. Triple M Rocks football.
Wonderful night for footy at the MCG, the first of these prelim finals. And it's really been dominated by the Sydney Swans. 39-point leaders at quarter time, 49 at half time. And then the Cats were better, back to 36 points at three-quarter time. The first 5 minutes of this term, enormous for Geelong to have any chance. Chris Judd and Jason Dunstall, Shell V Power special comments.
Yeah, I thought the Cats came out and they were certainly a lot harder around the ball than they had been for the first couple of quarters, but still in their defensive 50, Sydney had too much space and still were able to score some really easy goals.
Unfortunately for the Cats, they're a two-man team. Selwood and Dangerfield, nothing else behind it. Been a great team effort from the Swans. Everyone's made a contribution, and when you get virtually 22 players contributing as opposed to 2 on the other side, it doesn't matter how good those 2 are, they're not going to get the job done.
Speaking of team efforts, what about the boys down on the boundary? Been overworked and sensational. Howie in the dock.
Cheers, Jim. Henderson's had a couple of fitness tests. He had the first one after the ankle re-strap, went back down the rooms. He's up doing one in front of his knee. You'd expect they'll need him out there this term. Aaliyah hasn't played the entire second half with that left knee. That'll be an issue for him during the week if you would expect the Swans to make their way through the grand final. Parker also has got the medial side of his knee all taped up, but he came back on, didn't seem to have too many problems. But boys falling down left, right and centre. Harry Taylor's got an issue with his right hand as well.
Ash for Hardiaca.
Yeah, Cats only 27 uncontested marks for the game. They averaged 83.
Lockie Henderson doing some runs up and down. We saw him roll that ankle too in that term. So bashed up players either side of the ledger. Umpire holds the ball aloft for McDonald's. Triple M rocks the finals. Luke Darcy to get you underway in this final term.
It's a nice look for Sydney when you see Isaac Heaney now playing some serious minutes in the midfield, and he had some absolute class whenever he's amongst the footy. First bounce one in the direction of the Cats. Selwood went at it head on.
That's harsh.
And a free kick went the way of Kangaroos. It's in the hands of Hanbury. Sorry, Kangaroos. The Swans. Hanbury's got it now.
Sounded good to me for a second.
I'll let to give you a lift, Jim.
Thank you.
Spills out to Selwood. Centre wing, southern stand side, pops it to the edge of 50. Hawkins has been very quiet, front and centre. A hard one from Lincoln McCarthy. Couple of Swans still down after that heavy pack clash. One of them is Zach Jones. He gets up and he's okay, but the boundary throw him about 45 metres around from the punt road end. Cats are attacking. They trail by 36 points.
Geez, good tackle from Hanbury.
Should have been rewarded, shouldn't it?
Should have been a free kick. Incorrect disposal.
Tough boy, Zach Jones. Tough family. Heaney went without it. Here he is again. On cue, went and picked it up and threaded the ball wide in search of the bud.
Pay deliberate.
Oh.
There was only a couple of metres in front of Franklin, who's the target he was looking for.
Yeah, that's, again, a very harsh decision. I went too early on these umps, I reckon. Enright high inside forward 50. Stanley in from the side. Has taken a mark. Now then, the first couple of minutes were always going to be crucial for the Cats. Must go back and kick this.
Hasn't been a great night for East Stanley, but he gets a chance to give him a sniff.
Old Fat Guts Brownless has, for the first time tonight, started to get some body language going. He's soaked up the Lux to this point. The regional listeners on whatever the hell station he's on, we've given him donuts. Because here we go. Reece Stanley to get it back to 5 goals. Set shot. Loved it. All right. Is there a pulse in this Geelong team? 8-10, 58, 14-4, 88. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Well, it's just the start Chris Scott would have asked for to this last quarter. It was strong pack mark by Reece Stanley and went back and was good enough to kick the goal. And you just never know. They haven't looked like it tonight, but they are the best finishing team in the competition. And if they can get another goal soon enough, it'll be game on.
They've won 19 of 23 fourth quarters, and they do outscore the opposition heavily in the fourth quarter. But you just think that 6-goal margin was probably too much. Needed to be back to 5 before they started. Well, it's 5 now. Can they string together a couple and at least put a bit of pressure on the Swans?
Down to Howe in the dock.
Another injury for the Cats. This time Lincoln McCarthy with a right ankle. He's now in the hands of the doctors.
Thank you. Well, James T-Marts bringing us Howe in the dock down there. Picked up by Kennedy from the restart. Launches one inside 50. Franklin bounces in between Mackie and Buddy. Well done, Kurt Tippett. Really clean hands. Got it back to Gary Rowan. Parker kick smothered by Selwood. Spilled back to Rowan. Back to Parker. Cats are going to come up with a footy. Play on. Free kick paid. And Selwood's kick over the head of Hawkins. Mark taken by Heath Grundy.
Didn't show great judgment, Tom Hawkins. He kept leading at the ball and ran under it.
It's ended up with George Hewitt here. He's going to go out wide. Hanbury on the centre wing, southern stand wing side.
And they'll slow things down when they can, Sydney. They're happy to take time off the clock.
Short to McGlynn. Uncontested mark on the wing outer side.
And that's what Geelong can't afford to give them.
That was Motlop trailing him in. It's just been a dirty night for Stephen Motlop. McGlynn, long and wide. Tippett, good late fist from Kolajasny. Footy goes out.
Slowing the ball up does two things for Sydney. It takes some time off the clock with the ball in their hands, but it also allows them to set up behind the ball. And you see that's what they're doing when they slow the ball down, just making sure all their defensive positions are where they need to be.
30 points the margin. 55 the highest of the night, Ash.
Yeah, it was deep into the second quarter.
So they've done well to get back to this point, but they've got to kick 6 unanswered, or 5 and some change. They've only kicked 8 for the night. It's going to be a titanic performance. Ball to be thrown up half forward for the Swans, going to the city end. Down Blitzards, but straight to Jack. High inside forward 50. Rowan takes a double grab mark in the pocket.
Well, he gets the chance to finish him off here.
Yep.
So he's outmarked his opponent, Mackie, and also Jed Buse. They'd be disappointed, the Cats. They had 2 players there. None of them could get a finger on the ball.
Had no right to mark it, really.
So Gary Rowan, who, as the Duke said, has been very good, very doubtful coming into the game, but he's stood up brilliantly. Massive kick this. If it goes through She's all over you, got to think. It's across the face and through for just a behind. 14-5, 89, 8-10, 58. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
31-point lead to the Sydney Swans. Enright desperate to get it back in quickly. Went to himself, and they've nearly got this one up big time. They have. That's holding the ball, and advantage paid. Goal to Gary Rowan. And, well, they just didn't need that. Enright, who almost never makes a mistake, just turned it over big time. Big goal to Sydney. 15-5, 95, 8-10, 58 Geelong. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
It's been the tale of the night, hasn't it? He is as dependable as any player that's ever played the game, Corey Enright. You don't see those sort of things happen. And the exchange of hand passes with Guthrie, immediately they were under pressure. They didn't handle the ball cleanly. And the Swans, just three of them closed in quickly, took any options away from them, turned it into a goal.
Just with the Cats, they concede the least number of scores from turnovers at 37 points per game. Tonight they've conceded 64 for Hardyacker.
The Papley tackle was good. Terrific on Enright.
So now it's real tough. Back in the middle. A bouncing ball, evaded Caddy. Another player who's had a pretty quiet night for the Cats. Joey Kennedy, his numbers, Ash.
Kennedy for Hardyacker, 20 touches.
Coming off a 40 game last week. His handball's a little slick. Selwood's been very good, Joel. His handball in extreme pressure ended up in the hands of, well, Hanbury via Parker. Now the ball goes over in front of the interchange gates and it'll be thrown in. Full scoreboard, 15-5, 95 Sydney, 8-10, 58 Geelong. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Early stages, last quarter. Sydney, unbelievable tonight. Lear, the real injury worry, hasn't played any part of the second half. Hanbury collected by Menengola. Are on the wing member side in front of the interchange race. Comes out to Mackie. He tumbles one to half forward. Caddy misread it badly. Over his head, Cowan runs onto it. Harry Marsh gives chase. Directs it towards the boundary line. Cowan, he can't keep it in. And we'll get a boundary throw in. Punt road end of the MCG. That's where the Cats are attacking to. 15-5, 95 to 8-10, 58. Solid crowd in tonight. Beautiful, perfect still night MCG. Around about the 70,000 plus mark for this prelim final. It's taken by Bartel, wrapped up immediately, and that won't be coming out, so it'll be tossed up. Still deep in attack for the Cats.
Thrown in the air. Triple teamed again, or at least double. Down to Caddy. The snap from Caddy in the pocket's going to miss the lot and go out in the full.
Again, under immense pressure as soon as he got the ball. Pushed off balance as he kicked. This has been comprehensive, the commitment from the Sydney players.
So we see Alir sitting in the bunker for the Swans. Big question mark now over him next week. Long ball. Fisted forward to Blitzarves. Blitzarves to Buse. Buse a flying shot at him and he misses the lot. Out of bounds again.
So Sydney free kick. Left back pocket alongside the left hand behind post punt road end. And Zach Jones has been a really impressive inclusion tonight. As Chris Judd pointed out, they've done well to add Lather and Jones in when they're talking for depth defenders, and they've missed a beat tonight, Juddy.
They've been terrific. Zach Jones' ability not just to win the ball, but then to use his legs to get out of trouble. He's used the ball really well. He's been nice and tough, and he's been superb.
I reckon he plays the sort of game that makes it impossible to leave him out next week.
Definitely. Yep.
Boundary throw-in. 60 out from the Cats' goal. A lot of numbers around it. Isaac Heaney came flying through. Parker on hands and knees. Bartel the other way. Bit of the footy. And then he had it dispossessed. It was a fresh air. A kick out of mid-air, in fact, from Isaac Heaney. It was ambitious and it went out of bounds on the southern stand wing side. Geelong free kick.
As Callum Mills becomes a big story, doesn't he?
Huge.
Alir not playing, probably. And there'll be huge temptation to bring him back in.
And McVeigh as well.
Yep. Guthrie, high ball inside 50. Bartel to come in from the side. What about the future for him? Does he play on into next year? Been quiet again tonight, Jimmy Bartel. High. Kieran Jack takes it. What are his numbers, Bartel, Ash?
Yeah, just the 18 possessions at 43% by foot.
You just got to wonder what the future holds for him. Well done, Richards. Got rid of Mackie. Took a good contested mark on the wing. I know he hit the trigger, but is he in their best team?
Well, he gets a lot of the ball, Jim. It's just he doesn't have much impact.
Long ball, Naismith, one hand.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at beautiful mark. The big ruckman, Duke.
And I'll
It
tell
was
you,
an accident.
tell you what's really disappointing about this. Geelong had a 4-on-1, and 3 of them stayed down and just expected Guthrie to actually be able to spoil the ball, and then they were looking to take it away. You had Menegola in the front, you had Enright in the front, you had another player over the back. No one came over and gave aerial assistance.
What about a bit of respect for the big boy Naismith, one of the great marks of the night, Chief? Just anything.
He just tapped it.
hit
I don't
the
even
back
think he
end.
tried to mark it.
Watch the kick, Duke. This will tell us everything
Duke.
we need to know.
Ride it like a bull.
Look at this, 206 centimetres. He won't make any mistakes,
Oh,
Sam
no.
Naismith. He hit it pretty nicely.
Didn't make the distance. No, just snuck it through for a behind.
That was a 30-metre shank.
8-10-58 to 15-6-96.
Bartel brings it back in for the Cats. No other option than right down the middle. It's off the shins of Zach Smith, flying through Cowan, picked up by Grundy. And a great job on Tom Hawkins tonight, taking him right out of the game. Zach Smith, a real clumsy, awkward, poor ball. Nick Smith back there for Sydney to Lloyd at half-back. Swans are just, they're in cruise control now. Happy to just maintain possession, Lloyd, but he wants it short. He's going to go further up the ground to Joey Kennedy, and he marks it right in front of Howie in the dock on the centre wing in front of the interchange race.
Kieran out, Kieran.
So the junk time really starts now. 38 points. And there is 12 minutes left. So good mark taken back there by Lonigan. Handballs ended up with Mackie. Mackie a squaring one to Caddy. Geez, there'll be some soul searching at the Cattery. They have been pounded tonight. They've been outplayed virtually since the start of the game. Forward 50 entry. Harry Taylor one-on-one with Rampy. He's a very good one-on-one defender. Scott Selwood went to find it and then tried to drag a high free. Rampy is still involved. It bounces off a couple of sets of legs. The Cats think it's their ball.
Sam
It is,
Menegola.
and it's Menegola. So he'll have to kick it from outside the field of play or run around.
Harry Taylor was desperately trying to get there. He's a left footer. Would have been a lot more comfortable with the kick.
That's your line.
Does
So
he
is
take
he- yeah,
the big
does he-
banana, Chief?
Well, no, he looks like he's going to run out onto the left.
Come back, EJ, play on.
And he hits it way too well. It's gone right across the face. In fact, he's going to stay in. Jimmy Bartel had to fist it out. It'll be thrown in deep, punt road end. 58-96, 38-point lead, Swans.
Just be a few Sydney players now that just start thinking about what's coming next week.
Yep. They can't afford any more injuries, and we hope no one else does get injured.
A lot of time still left. It's full 12 minutes almost left. Kennedy's kick. It's gained about 45 metres. Really impressed with Gary Rowan tonight. He got almost ankle tapped accidentally by Lockie Henderson, so he fell over. Became Hewitt. Picked up by College Anthony. Hanbury went flat out at Corey Enright. Brilliant stuff. It was what set this game up for Sydney. They were brutal at the start. Well done again by Gary Rowan. Broke up the handball. Henderson's had a howler tonight. Heaney's kicked short to Franklin. I don't think he thought it was 15, buddy, so he handed it off to Nick Smith, who under pressure has coughed it up to Bartel.
And he goes sideways to Mackie inside defensive. He just got to roll every dice now, Geelong, don't they? Just pound it in and see what they can manufacture. Duncan does exactly that. Well beaten Hawkins by Grundy.
And
He's
he
done
looks
it
back.
many times to him too, Chief.
He's looking back at Mitch Duncan saying, what the hell was that sort of kick? It wasn't a great kick, but he's been soundly beaten, Tom Hawkins.
I reckon over the journey, Ash, I don't know if it statistically stacks up, but he's had the better of Tommy Hawkins, Grundy. Over a long period of time, he's just such a big body. He's probably one of the few defenders that can stand toe-to-toe with Big Tommy.
He's only kicked 9 goals from his past 4 matches against Sydney JB, Tom Hawkins.
That's it, so he's going at just 2 a game. As Rampy's got it, he's got Hanbury out. Kicks to Dan Hanbury on the bounce. Look at the hard run of Heaney. Got there a long way in front of Hughes, who's a pretty good runner himself. Down the line is Xavier Richards, so it's as uncontested as you like now. The season's over for the Cats, and the Sydney Swans fans are starting to celebrate.
They are. You can hear the chant going up around the MCG. Gary Rowan just underneath the footy slightly. Kurt Tippett done enough tonight. The big man took a couple of first quarter. Coming through McGlynn, back to Tippett. His bender was partially smothered in the end. Scotty Selwood trying to surge it towards the boundary line. McGlynn does keep it in, and then he gains further 6 or 7 metres to the goal line. Duncan has rushed it through for a minor score. It hasn't worked out. He's done it. Miss Duncan wants to play on, which is bizarre. So it's 15-7, 97 Sydney, 8-10, 58 Geelong. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Yeah, he wants to go long down the middle, but they're not set up for it. That's the problem. So he can't.
So Mitchie Duncan kicks towards the members' side. Danger's going to be double, triple team. Heaney in from the side. Danger kept his feet. Probably been the Cats' best player, Dangerfield. He and Selwood been very good. Bartel inches the kick forward. Henderson went to go and then didn't on the wing. Kicks it off the instep. Looking for McCarthy, who's been very quiet. And the ball goes out of play. It'll be thrown in. So 39-point lead for Sydney inside the last 10 minutes of the prelim.
Official crowd tonight, 71,772. Ted Richards looking on. Chemist Warehouse replay screen, big smile on his face. Come into contention potentially with Aliir now. Hewitt's dragged Selwood over for a boundary throwing.
It'd be interesting. He hasn't played for a while now in the ones, has he? And I think if they've got to make room, it's more likely going to be one of those players that's probably coming back from injury. McVeigh or Mills.
So boundary throwing on forward 50 for the Geelong Football Club. Zach Smith very, very quiet. Tom Mitchell strong in the contest. Selwood burrows in underneath, and then handball came back out to Heaney. It is real junk time this at the moment. Enright goes back. 9 minutes remaining in the match. Franklin still going hard at the man, and Corey Enright was the target on that occasion. Dispossessed him. Dangerfield's wrapped up. Kennedy wanted to hold the footy in front of the interchange race. Right on the wing here. Picking that by saying no prior. Two men.
Yeah, it does. Joel Selwood, he's had 38 pressure acts, and most on the ground. Next in line for the Cats is Scott Selwood, only with 19.
Enright wrapped up. Handball forward to Joel Selwood. He gets bashed into. Naismith's hands were broken up. Selwood went back to get it. Bartel the same. Handball to a player who was being tackled. Great tackle, Isaac Heaney. This is a star, this young man. So, Heaney drags a free kick.
Clear it out.
How many tackles has he had? Sure. Isaac Heaney.
Handball to Bud.
7 tackles for Hardyaka.
Kick from Buddy Franklin. Looked for Duncan. The ball's out of play, surely. Yes, it is. It's going to be thrown in front of Doc and Howie. We've got 8 minutes left. 39-point lead for the Swans. What'd you see, Duke?
It's a nice little slapping there from Buddy on Stevie Motlop.
Just a push.
Nothing in it.
Nah.
Apart from Stevie Motlop not really having any say in this game at all tonight. It's been the story of the game. And finally Tom Hawkins gets a ball he likes, leads up on Grundy and takes a mark. Just hasn't happened at all. He's within range, Tommy. He was thinking about dishing it off, and now he'll go back and launch this one. Tight angle. It's the Buddy Franklin pocket that he loves to bend left to right, punt right end. Let's see what Hawkins can do from outside 50. Been soundly beaten tonight. He kicked it horribly. Out of bounds on the full. It's just been a forgettable night for the Geelong Football Club. 71,772 in the house, and they have been smacked in this final.
As Mick Martin showed in 1999, Juddy, you can break a man's jaw in a prelim and play the next week. It actually doesn't matter.
I don't think Buddy's got anything to worry about.
MRP, match review, it actually doesn't matter what it is. They're just an irrelevance grand final week. As Bartel inside 50. No one able to take control of the ball. Kicked out of there by Grundy. 1 on 3, and the defensive fist sees it out of play.
Barry Hall was another JB, wasn't he? A little rib tickler to Matt Maguire.
Yep.
That had affected West Coast in 2005. I've forgotten about it, Jim.
Yeah, I've seen you been able to let that one go.
Andrew Dunkley belted the King in a prelim final.
Yep.
Remember that one?
It just hasn't. It's never mattered.
Nor should it.
No, just get on with it. Been very good, Hanbury. Went and won the footy. Mitchell started brilliantly. Not his best handball there to his teammate in Marsh. The ball pings around the centre of the ground. No one able to really control it. Selwood a rare fumble. That's Joel. And then he gets wrapped up. Stanley outside of the boot inside 50. Laidler's been pretty solid. Handballs back to Grundy.
Plenty of time, Sydney. They had plenty of time all night, really. Comes across the face of goal. Kieran Jack's back deep in defence. 97 plays 58. 39-point lead, not 15. The umpire has put Lloyd under a bit of pressure. Goes back to Jack. He's coughed it up to Dangerfield. 60 metres out. He's got Naismith on the mark, and I reckon for all money he's going to take him on here.
Kick it tall. His possession 38 there.
Strange. Well, we had sort of Stanley in mind, but there's a lot more Swans in the area. Now they're out. Zach Jones streaming out a half-back Rampy. He gets the footy and then looks up. There's not much further afield, so he's more than happy to hold on to the umpire. He's forced him to go, and the kick wasn't great from Rampy. He's going to come back.
Comes back through Mackie, who drills a low one. Push out there from Harry Taylor. Grundy very, very good back there. Handballs to Laidler. Laidler just sits it high down the line. Mackie will win the height contest on Papley. Papley will win the contest at ground level. Did really well. Wants to give it off to the Bud. And then goes sideways to Kieran Jack. So 5.5 left. And I speak from experience, Chief, when I say you're involved in a club where you just know you're going to lose a prelim final. It's a hollow, horrible feeling. The Cats are done.
They are. I love what I see every time Tom Papley gets near the ball, though. He makes good decisions. He wins contests. He might be small in stature. He's got a massive heart.
Kick 3. Defensive mark taken on the outer side.
He's probably been okay, Lonergan. I reckon I could make a case to say he's been one of the better Cats out there.
Lonergan short to Enright. Enright goes through the corridor with a nice ball to Stanley. Stanley's right in the centre of the G. Just wheels and goes. Bouncing ball out in front of McCarthy. And he gets bashed into by Rowan. What are McCarthy's numbers, Ash?
Yeah, 6 possessions, JB, and he's scoreless. He's kicked 19 majors this year.
Another 2v1 from Sydney there with their setups, with Gary Rowan coming over to assist. We've just seen it time and time again in their defensive 50.
The voice of Chris Judd, the Chief Jason Dunstall, the Shell V-Power special comments designed to improve performance. 4 minutes 44, says the clock. Zach Jones brings it out, members side, Rampy. Too easily got around Harry Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think Harry's overly keen on tackling with that sore finger that he's got.
Zach Jones is one who will be going hard for the rest of the game because he will be trying to get a game next week.
Yeah, he's mounting a pretty fair case, Judd, as we said earlier. He's been outstanding tonight. Picked up by College Asney. And half-back. Stopped to a walk this game now. There's Lonergan through the corridor and it picked out Joel Selwood perfectly.
Yeah, there's a loose player back there. That's why he didn't want to kick it long.
Guthrie wide to Blitzars, who's run forward, takes it on the paint of 50.
On 50, Sam! On
4
50.
minutes left. It's just a matter of by how far now for the Swans. Kick in board, no mark taken.
Play on!
Selwood tried to drag a high free, was unable to do so. The ball works its way to about 15 out from the Cats' goal. Bartel to go and get it. And the umpire's going to throw it up. Fascinates me, Jimmy Bartel, what they do with him. 97-58 the score, by the way, inside the last 4 minutes.
What's his night look like, true man, Jimmy Bartel?
He's up to 24 possessions and a major hard yakka.
It was a quick kick from Luke Parker. Had a bit of a knee scare earlier. He's played on without any duress. Good sign. Jed Hughes is going to have a left foot ping at this one. Deep in the pocket. He might have centred it. Here's Stevie Motlop. They tried to sell the candy and then got wrapped up immediately. Frank, look at his ground level pressure. Beautiful tackle on Selwood. Back to Henderson. His handball dropped off by Heath Grundy. Through came Lloyd. Menegola picks it up. More pressure. Buddy's back there defending. Got it away to Laidler. It's a really dangerous ball that he's put in front of Xavier Richards. Lincoln McCarthy comes in, picks it up. Left foot kick to the goal square. Sliding defensive mark. Has been taken by Gary Rowan. Loose man in defence. And his teammates really appreciating a really good night from that man.
Just defend this part of the ground so well, Sydney. They always have lots of numbers back here, but they don't give away frees. They play percentages brilliantly. Oh, the butt! Just a late climb.
Yeah, it's not quite what he does, though, Jim. He looked a little uncomfortable, didn't he?
Menegola, not been a great night for him. It comes through his hands. Parker's got work to do here. 1-on-3 nearly. Lonergan's parked himself back there. 2 minutes 30 and counting. And the Swans players just want to get themselves off and ready for a grand final. And the Cats can dust off their costumes for Mad Monday. They do it better than any other club. And they'll be disappointed they're doing it a week earlier than they'd hoped.
Tell you what they haven't done well tonight, and that's deliver the ball inside 50. There've been some atrocious kicks.
A real celebration in the air now for the Sydney Swans as Joey Kennedy's got the ice on. They've taken Luke Parker and Buddy off, so real A-graders. They're not going to take any chances with minute 57 remaining.
It's a good feeling when you know you're going to the big dance.
It's in the hands of Tommy Mitchell at halfback. Pops it down the line. Naismith in front. Menangola. Mackie. Scott Selwood over that run. Which just hasn't been there tonight. Cats link up through Menangola. Back to Mackie. Hughes with some speed. Has a ping at the goals. Jed Hughes made a good fist of it. Slams it into the post. 3/4 of the way up. 97 plays 59. 38-point lead on the Harvey Norman scoreboard. Check out the new Electrolux range of Fresh Plus refrigerators at Harvey Norman today.
Talk about how well the Swans always organise their defence. They've taken 12 intercept marks inside the defensive 50. Geelong have taken 3.
Grundy high. It's a big stat. Hanbury in from the side. Dangerfield's been good. Left foot inside 50 ball. That wasn't his best. Won by Marsh. Got it to Rampy. Rampy just kicks it up the chimney, hoping that Naismith can provide something of a contest at the back end right. Little ball from him wide to Bartel. We're hearing that Brian Cook quoted today as saying a combination of AFL and VFL for Jimmy next year. Laidler, a drop ball, running over the top of it, Motlop. McCarthy off a step, the snap to a 1-on-2. It's going to carry those players and go through for another behind. 8-12-60, 15-7-97. Triple M Harvey Norman scoreboard.
Rowan kicking from fullback. This game started tonight with 8 unanswered goals to Sydney. Blew the Cats out of this final. And since then they've just been able to maintain effectively what that lead was early on. It's 39 points at quarter time, and as we said earlier, the big story, Aliir hasn't taken any further part with a knee injury. Aside from that, it will be the Sydney Swans.
Inside 50 ball, broken up in the air by the Swans defence. The danger went and got it. Siren sounds. There's your game, and the Swans make their way through to the 2016 Grand Final in the most impressive of styles.
Shake down the thunder from the sky. But though the odds be great or small, the Suns will go in and win overall. While the loyal Suns are marching onward to victory.
Just one goal apiece in that final term, so a bit of preservation from the Swans. They had an eye to next week, and the Cats just ran out of juice.
An amazing stat coming up for you, Jim. You're going to find this hard to believe.
Yep.
So, what is it? 97-60 in favour of Sydney. 37 points the margin. The inside 50s, Jim. Geelong 72 to Sydney 40. Geelong had 65% of the ball in their forward half of the ground to the Swans 35%. And they did not get within a bull's roar.
Let's hear from Buddy Franklin.
For a moment there with Josh and Luke when he came off a couple of minutes ago. It's a nice feeling into the Indian Vic Grand Final.
Yeah, it is. Unbelievable. It's been a really good year from all the boys this year. And to get to a Grand Final, it's been a lot of hard work, but one more game to go, so it's going to be an unbelievable game, whoever we play next week. And just soak it up right now because it doesn't happen often to get into a Grand Final, so absolutely overall.
Mate, it was the start again tonight. You blew them away early. What is it? What is it about your starts at the moment that getting you off to flyers in these games?
I think you always want to get off to a really good start and put scoreboard pressure on. And probably the last 2 weeks we were able to do that. Against GWS we weren't able to do that, and they got on top of us. But it's always good when you kick a couple of goals early for a team, and everyone's confidence really lifts from there. And unbelievable.
You haven't done it the easy way. You copped a bit of a hiding in that first final. What happened that week? A really strong review. Did you get together? Because the last 2 weeks have been phenomenal.
Yeah, we had to review. The game was bloody hard to watch, but it pretty much came back to the contested ball. We got smashed that night, or that day, sorry. And we really had to train it, I reckon. We had to get back to the basics, train that contested ball, win it inside, and then be able to break from there. And we were able to do that in the last 2 weeks, and we find ourselves in the Grand Final, mate.
do, mate. You're playing outstanding footy yourself. The little blokes around you. Papley, where's he come from? And Benny McGlynn, Gary Rowan, the whole forward line's gelling beautifully.
Yeah, his Paps is in his first year of football. You forget that. He kicked 3 this week, and then last week kicked 4. So that's an unbelievable effort by a first-year player to come in and hit the scoreboard like that. And then we got Gary Rowan, Heaney, and Benny McGlynn. So everyone's sort of hitting the scoreboard. It definitely helps.
You're going to drive out Parramatta Road tomorrow, mate, and watch the game?
I'll be watching it at home, mate.
Nick, we're going up front. You're into the grand final. Let's head over to Timmy. I think you got Tom Papley with you, mate.
I am, Richo. Tom, congratulations. You're into a grand final. What do you think about that?
Oh, I don't think words can describe it. I just can't believe it, really. I just don't know what to say.
What were you doing this time last year, Tom?
A few of my mates are here. I probably would have been here, probably up in the stands having a few beers, but I've got my I just don't know. Got my dream, and I just can't wait for next week.
You must be still pinching yourself because you only just made it probably onto the Sydney list. You're a rookie player, and the longer the season's gone, the more accomplished you've looked.
Yeah, I just wanted to find my feet at the start of the season. Pre-season, had a little injury in the pre-season, and then I just wanted to keep finding my feet, get involved in the drills, and my opportunity to come. And I just grabbed it with both hands, and it's a dream come true.
Well, you've done that, 9 goals during the final series. What a great club it is to the Sydney Swans.
It's unbelievable. All the boys, all the coaches, all the fans. I just can't wait for next week, and hope we bring it home.
Will you have trouble sleeping during the week, do you think?
I should be right during the week. I don't know how we'll go Friday night, but I just can't wait. I can't wait to play in front of 100,000 fans and hopefully get that win with the boys.
Good luck. It's a massive week. Enjoy yourself.
Whispers Watson out there. Of course, Richo as well for the host broadcaster, doing a very, very fine job with Buddy Franklin and Tom Papley. Give us that stat again, please, Chief. What did you say it was?
72 inside 50s to 40 in favour of Geelong. And they have been beaten 15 goals to 8. It has been a pantsing.
That is often a stat they lose, though, the Swans. So they stack their numbers
not by
back
that
with the ball.
margin.
Not by that
That's
margin.
nearly double, Jim.
Yep.
72 to 40.
Hey, Chief, we're just keeping a close eye on one particular cat.
Jimmy Bartell, I did see him waving to a bit of the crowd as he walked off.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from his body language, Jed?
Yeah, and Corey Enright was the one that was just...
Well, he was in tears.
Yeah, absolutely in tears. And they both went over each other, Juddy, put their arms around each other. It almost felt like that was a bit of a farewell for one or both of them.
Yeah, it could certainly be read that way. You can sort of read a little bit into the post-match reactions, both from those 2 Geelong players, but then Alir as well just looks a little bit too happy for someone that's going to be injured next week.
Yeah.
So you suspect from the size of the smile on his face that he thinks he's a pretty good chance to be up and about for next week.
He's beaming out there, isn't he, Alir? It's a great shot of him. He's got a big smile and telling the boys that he's up and about and he's okay. So let's hope that is a positive story.
Well, they are through to a grand final, Sydney, and you just see now the Chemist Warehouse shots of the Geelong rooms. Devastation, losing prelim final. Horrible, horrible feeling, especially when they won the week, 2 weeks earlier and had the week off. And cherry ripe, I can't think of a player that they wanted to select, they couldn't. So they're absolutely healthy. Menzel's the only one I'm being told in my ear, and that is absolutely spot on. So one player really that they would love to have picked and couldn't. So no excuses for the Cats, and yet they were handed a pounding by the Sydney Swans tonight, and the Swans make their way down the race. They'll sing the song very, very strongly, you'd imagine, and then start looking forward to another performance, an appearance in a grand final. Cameras just following the assembled team down. And you two in the back row know what that feels like. Singing the song and then knowing you're in a granny the next week.
And nice to be able to win a prelim like this. You don't have that roller coaster ride that you sometimes get in prelim final weeks with a close win that you're really white knuckling to the very end of the game. They were able to preserve a little bit of energy late, and I'm sure they'll sing this song with gusto and get ready for next week.
They all had to walk past the Premiership Cup too, which is at the top of the race. John Longmire celebrating as the players come in.
In they come, the Swans, led by the skipper, Kieran Jack. Luke Parker, he's got the strapping off the knee, so he looks good. They all go over and say good day straight away to Jarrod McVeigh. He'll be another story this week as well, obviously, with that calf. They're all over him. Kurt Tippett got through with the jaw. Brett Kirk, an assistant now, looks very happy, as is the big bud, as they continue to file through. Stewie Dew in the background alongside Tom Harley.
Very composed, though.
They are.
No carry on in the Swans room. There wasn't last week either.
No, it was very different scenes to the Bulldogs rooms last week when they had their win over the Hawks. Aliir just coming in beside me, as you said, big smile on his face. Here they go, the Swans. They're into a grand final. There's the Swannies. They'll go into a quick meeting. We'll speak to Dane Rampy immediately after that on Triple M Footy.
Well done, Howie. Thanks for that. We'll get to a break now. This is the Triple M review for DeWalt. Guaranteed tough and available at Bunnings Warehouse. As you just heard, Dane Rampy when we come back after the meeting. A 37-point win for the Swans, who had this one by the old pill bag almost from the very start. Kicked the first 7 goals of the match, and that was all she wrote. So they're through to a grand final for McDonald's. And by the way, play the Monopoly game at Macca's for a 1 in 5 chance to win great prizes instantly. Triple M rocks finals footy. Swans in the end by 37 points. The 7 Network and their analyst Cameron Ling, of course legend of the Geelong Footy Club, former premiership captain, has just gone with the fact that he thinks that might be Corey Enright's last game of football. So that would explain the emotion we saw on Corey Enright's face as he exited the ground. And there'll be emotion in the Sydney rooms too this time next week if they win the big dance, and that's where we find Howie. Who have you got?
Spot on, Dane Rampy. Congratulations, you're into a grand final. The first quarter of football, mate, extraordinary by your footy club, and you must have just been stoked down back to see the boys in the middle continually extract it and make it a touch easier for you for that first 20 minutes. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. You couldn't have said it better. I think the way that the boys, led by Sam Naismith and Hannah's, Parksy, Joey in the middle, they just cracked in and really set the tone early on, and it was that set the scene for the game, and it is easy down back when it's like that, and that's what we need to bring every week.
Dane, loved the team performance. I think everyone contributed. A couple of players I wanted to give special mention to. I thought Zach Jones was brilliant coming in after getting knocked out in the knee full a couple of weeks ago. Looked composed, waltzed through traffic really, really well. And the comeback of Gary Rowan was just superb.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think Jonesy's got that little bit of aggression about him, and he loves the situation. He loves the pressure, and we love having him on that last line. He did it earlier in the year, get us out of a couple of tricky situations on that last line of defence, and that's why we love having him in there. And Gary Rowan. Gary Rowan, super. To recover like he did, I think he's had a bit of a worry, obviously early on in the week, but to recover like he did and then come out and have a really, really crucial role speaks volumes of his character, and really helped us put in a good effort.
Hey Dane, congratulations on your year again, All Australian. You've just been incredible in the role that you play. You now get the chance to sit back and watch the prelim final tomorrow. What do you do? Do you do that as a team, or you go home and keep an eye on who your opponent will be?
Mate, to be honest, I'm not sure yet. I think the advantage of having the Friday night game is that we've got that extra day recovery, extra day just to, I guess, appreciate being in a grand final. And then, obviously come Monday, it's just business as normal. I think you can get caught up in the week and the enjoyment of it. I've been there before and I've done that, and I'm not going to fall for that trick again. I'm going to enjoy it on the weekend, enjoy the family, and come Monday, ready to go. We've got a job to do.
And Dane, the last couple of weeks you guys have come out and attacked the game with ferocious tenacity. Do you feel your pride was sort of pricked by the first week finals loss to GWS, and do you think that's contributed at all to the way you guys have come out and played?
Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt that our pride was dented, and the vision on the Monday after that game was deplorable, really, and we took a hit in the ego there, but to the boys' credit, led by Parksy and Hannah's, they really set the scene in that Adelaide game and then again tonight, and that's the challenge going forward. We've got to bring that. There's no big secret about what we do. What we bring is just that hunting and pressure, and that sets our game up from there. So if we bring that, we've got the utmost confidence that we're going to put in a good performance.
Hey Dane, we saw some shots in the room. A lot of players very keen to get over to Jared McVeigh after the win. You confident he comes up next week?
I dare say he'll be ready. I think it was touch and go, but I'm pretty confident he'll be there next week.
What about Aliir? Dane, have you had any word at all on how serious that injury is to him?
No, mate, I haven't yet. But Aliir, to his credit, he's put on a really brave face. He hasn't been moping around, and I think we're all confident he's going to get back in there. We really love having him out there. Obviously, he adds a real good dynamic to our back line, and I think it's just a wait and see at the moment. They've obviously got to wait for the scans or whatnot, but he's putting on a brave face, and we hope for the best.
Dane, I know the company line will be that you don't care who you play next week, but I get the feeling you wouldn't mind having a piece of GWS.
Yeah, mate.
I get a very strong feeling. I like it, mate. Brilliant football by your club tonight. Well done.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Well done.
Dane Rampy is a star for Exetel NBN Broadband. That is a bitter rivalry they've got up there, Jim.
Jim, they tried to manufacture it at the start, but having been up there last week and knowing a few on the GWS side, there is a genuine discontent between the two sides. And even a little bit of what happened after the last final, we know that there was a bit of sledging and there was a bit of talk about that and how that was leaked to the media, who was involved in it, whether or not it was an actual story or not. Fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
Gold. I know that's not a result you're after, Duke, but either way it's a win because either finalist meeting Sydney will be absolutely brilliant.
I know the AFL always look at when you're sitting in the grand final from a TV audience point of view, you capture all of that market, and you think the fairy tale of the Bulldogs, if they did happen to win tomorrow night, would be an enormous grand final.
Well, it's interesting.
Let me ask you a question, Jim. If it's an all Sydney grand final, will that impact the crowd?
I don't think so. I think it's such a theatre event now, the AFL grand final. It might. Couple of thousand, but it wouldn't be a big drop off. I wouldn't think
it wouldn't go from 100 to low 90s or something.
I don't reckon because most of the tickets are already sold.
And corporate packages and the like.
All of that.
It's just interesting though to imagine if we have two Sydney.
Well, I tell you what,
the members might not fill up as much.
That's true, and the impact it has on the week build-up is what would interest me because if there's a Melbourne team in it, then it just drives the week in Melbourne. But if there's two Sydney teams, it might impact that. I'm not really sure. But I did a fascinating conference one day that the AFL put on at Crown Duke a while back, about 4 or 5 years ago, and the main speech was by Paul Tagliabue, who's the former commissioner of the NFL, and he spoke on a lot of things, but he spoke for about 20 minutes on the importance of rivalry in the NFL. Like the Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh, and I mean there are thousands of them. And he said that they invest a lot of money in them, and are absolute believers in the fact that you've got to have them all around the competition to drive exactly what we're talking about. And what's disappointed me a bit in Melbourne is a few of those great rivalries have dropped off.
Yep.
Richmond Carlton and Collingwood Essendon we see on Anzac Day, but a lot of people say, it doesn't matter anymore because we don't have zone players and that. But what's happening interstate is you've got West Coast and Freo who can't stand each other. You've got Adelaide and Port who detest each other. And now you've got these two teams in Sydney, and it's real.
Yep.
And it's probably getting pretty real too up in Brisbane with what we've seen with Stephen May and all the rest of it. So it's happening interstate, which is healthy for the game.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it adds that extra element, doesn't it? That layer that the supporters buy into and we love, and the storylines, about it, because, GWS Sydney hasn't got that mystique about it for a lot of the Melbourne audience. There'll be people that won't enjoy that, but what you will get is, two great sides, as we always do in grand final row.
Super coach, please, Ash, Herald Sun.
Yeah, sure, JB. Joel Selwood, number one ranked player, 181. Dangerfield, 144. Rampy, 124. And Isaac Heaney with 120.
All right, every week head to afl.com.au, place your vote for the Coates Hire Goal of the Year. The Petters Performance Star Best on Ground Award, of course, that's to come for Triple M. But tonight, gents, who did we like? Who are the better players?
It's interesting because you've got the two Geelong stars, Dangerfield and Selwood, that both had 39 touches, 10 more than anyone else on the ground. They both had 9 clearances, 3 more than the next best, which was Isaac Heaney with 6. And yet you can't even put them in the best because they've got beaten in such a comprehensive fashion. But there weren't the standouts, I don't think, from Sydney because it was such a great team. I loved Isaac Heaney, I loved Tom Mitchell, Dan Hanbury knocked up getting the ball, Dane Rampy's terrific down back. And the boys I mentioned before when we were talking to Dane Rampy, Zach Jones and Gary Ryan, I really rated their games because they had impact. They played roles that were really critically important to the Swans.
Heaney was the one for me. I thought he stood out, and you look at the stats, and he didn't have the most touches on the ground. And he had 7 tackles, but watching it felt like he had about 15. Every one of them was a bone-crunching tackle, and I thought he was incredible for the Swans today.
I think it's possible that Chief could do a rare finals, not so good look at the Cats, maybe.
It was an extraordinary ad break rant that we heard from the Chief where he just got on a roll,
Jim,
and did not stop.
No, I was just offering a little list management advice. if I was going to poke my head into the Cats list after this performance.
I'd describe it as quite direct, JB.
Best left off air, Jim.
Well, you're the rapper amongst us. It just looked to me like he got on a flow, Johnny, and could not stop.
There wasn't much of the list left after it finished.
There was not.
But they've got some decisions to make, in all honesty.
Absolutely.
And those decisions get highlighted and magnified when you look at finals performances like this, and you see the players that looked like they either didn't have the legs or didn't have the steel to actually get to the contest and get through the contest when needed. So, there's some really important decisions for the Cats to make. You can understand why they're interested in a Daniel Wells. Gee, they need some support in the midfield, don't they, Juddy?
They do, and I guess a couple of things. They're almost pot committed to the now in terms of what they've traded with recent history, and they'll be tempted to top up. But you're right, it's been said all year that too much has been left to Selwood and Dangerfield, and the same could be said tonight. And the risk is that you'll start to wear those two players out, and they're not at the start of their careers, those two guys, and if they keep being asked to do as much as they have been this year, they'll both get worn out pretty quickly.
Howie is down in the Geelong rooms. I think he may have Harry Taylor with him.
Yeah, I do, and she's pretty desperate scenes down here. H has got a big ice compression system on his right hand. We told you he was having problems with that, and the boys can get to that in a moment, H. But, gee, mate, tough luck. It's been a fantastic season for the footy club. Not that's what you want to hear at the moment, but that first quarter, mate, they kicked the first six. They were flying. What happened?
Not totally sure. We just couldn't get our hands on the footy. Coming down way too easy and without a great deal of pressure on it, unfortunately. So really put us on the back foot, and from there it was a bit of a hard slog. There was probably a chance when we got back into the game. They had a couple of injuries, so it allowed us to exploit the run, but no, they were just far too good tonight from start to finish.
H, that must be the thing that stings. You had the week off, so you had the perfect preparation. Menzel, probably the only player you wanted to select and couldn't. So coming in, it couldn't have been placed better.
No, not at all. You don't get a great deal of chances in this game, and unfortunately tonight was as good a chance as we're probably going to get, or we certainly had in my time, but yeah, we just didn't take advantage of that, and a poor start in modern day football makes it very, very tough to come back.
Hey Harry, bad luck tonight, of course. The one game in 26 days is a first because of the bye week, and you obviously had to plan for that with the phys ed staff. Is there anything in that made it a little bit different tonight?
No, not at all. I thought it played into our hands, if anything, and yeah, I mean, you'd love to have the bye if it's there, and we got that chance. We just didn't take advantage of it.
And is it the last we see of Corey Enright and Jimmy Bartell on a football field, Harry?
Not sure. We haven't had a meeting or haven't discussed any of that stuff as yet. I'm sure over the next few days we'll find out more. But yeah, whatever happens. We'll wait and see and reflect. Should we see what happens?
Well, H, we really appreciate it, mate. We know how tough it is to jump on in any losing game, but especially a prelim final. We thank you for doing that for us.
No worries at all, guys. Cheers.
Harry Taylor for Exetel NBN Broadband. That's full of interest for me, Juddy. Already whispers that it may be for Corey Enright and Jimmy Bartell. Just watching him, I guess, not cover the ground for a bloke who's been as unbelievable a player as he is. The leg speed looks to me to be the most alarming thing. Everything else he seems to do okay still, but just getting around.
Yeah, I mean, he's still probably in their best 6 or 7 players tonight. Kicked a goal and had a bit of the footy, but yeah, look, he's probably at that stage of his career now where he shouldn't be asked to do the heavy lifting.
That's for DeWalt. You're listening to the Footy Review. Guaranteed tough. Available Bunnings Warehouse. Injuries massive going into next week. Howie?
Yeah, indeed they are. Aliir, if you're just joining us, he was the main concern. Came down awkwardly on his knee in the second quarter. They strapped it up, tried to get him back out there, but didn't take any further part in the second half of the game. Had a big smile on his face in the rooms afterwards. He was icing. So as Doc said, he'll get some scans on that tomorrow. From what we saw Gary Rowan last week, he was carried off in the Medivac and was able to play. So they're hoping it's just bone bruising, maybe a slight tweak on the medial side, but it'll be a big week for Aliir. The other one is Jared McVeigh. We heard Dane Rampe Chippy say that he expected him to play. Actually went and had a chat with Jared in the rooms after we had a chat with that interview, and I said, how are you feeling about next week? And he said, mate, I won't miss it. I'll be there. I'll be right to go. So you would expect him to say that, but he sounded very, very confident that he would be there next week, and that's about it. Harry Taylor just jumped on with us now. He's got a massive situation with his right hand. I reckon he's broken a bone in there, and there's some couple of other issues for the Cats, but unfortunately when you lose, no one's too concerned about your injuries. But the big one will be Aaliyah, whether he can get up and whether Jared McVeigh can get over that calf in a 2-week period, but as they said, it was only a very slight nick, so that'll be an interesting one.
Callum Mills as well, I'm sure, will be discussed as we come into the grand final week. Well done, Howie.
Cheers.
Howie and the Doc been absolutely brilliant tonight, all across everything you needed to know. Juddy, well done by you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful work. Ash, see you up there tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, JB.
Well done.
Travelling Ash?
I am.
Yeah, nice.
Jeez.
Not very often.
I thought the Chief was good tonight.
Yeah, very. It started sort of poorly with no ship off and
get rid of
no
him.
real
I reckon
preparation.
he can go.
Oh, listen to this.
There's a couple there that are no good.
Just
Soft.
starting to wind up, Chief, which is when he's at his best.
That's it.
No good.
He's crabbed a
See you
couple.
later.
Slow crab. There was a few slow crabs.
Crustacean. There's a few that have to go.
You're just a brutal operator, Chief. Well done, Duke. Good luck tomorrow with the Dogs.
Thank you, Jim. Looking forward to being up there tomorrow.
Too good, the Swannies, to the tune of 37 points. Thanks to everyone who's helped put us together, of course. And also you for listening. For McDonald's, play the Monopoly game at Macca's. A 1 in 5 chance to win great prizes instantly. Swans into a grand final. And for McDonald's, Triple M rocks the prelim.